This time I'm the first one sitting down.
Well, you were setting everything up.
That's right.
So, welcome everybody to a very special episode of Digital Fiasco on a Tuesday night.
It's Tuesday.
And
it is a Tuesday night.
Yeah, because last night was a little bit crazy. I got into town late, so we had to kind of push the show a little bit. And yeah, we had a great time doing some comic sounds in the in-house here, and then yeah.
Apparently I missed the pun. I didn't hear what the pun was tonight, so I'm going to have to look back in the feed.
Oh, we were off doing something else when that happened, because
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I heard some glass shattering or a pun pass flying through the air or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, this is Digital Fiasco. My name's Dandr0id.
And I am Jack McBastard.
And yeah, we're here to give you all the news and reviews in the video game world.
So I'm guessing because you were on the road and traveling and whatnot, you've been playing like...
Bupkis. Yeah, unfortunately, it was just one of those things that when I'm away for a week, I'm away from gaming and stuff like that. Of course, try to keep up on some of the news and stuff like that. But as far as physical gaming for me, it pretty much stuck to my smartphone, and I was playing Battle Cats.
Battle Cats? What the fuck is Battle Cats?
It's literally just one of those kind of like little tap battler games. So you unlock a bunch of like freaky looking little anime cats with different themes to them, and it's like a tower defense thing almost. Okay. You send out a bunch after them, they send them up to you, and you try to beat down their forces and blow up their base on the other side.
Apparently, it's Tuesday is J.S. Marine's second favorite Rebecca Flack song. So, yeah. Now I've got that going through my head, so
great,
fuck you very much.
but with the replaced words. So it was literally, I was just playing that because I saw Markiplier he did like a quick little Let's Play of it because he was doing some nostalgic games.
Right.
Because Battle Cats has been around for a long time. Like, it used to be on PC. I think it was like on like Newgrounds and stuff like that, like way back in the day. Yeah, so they kind of freshened it up for smartphone market where they could actually make some coin off of it. So
glad you could help me out,
he just did some of that, and I was like, fuck, yeah, I missed playing that game, so I threw it back on my smartphone and just had some fun with that. So.
Decent?
Yeah, it's a fun little game. It's just one of those little tapper things. You can fire it up for 5 minutes, play a couple rounds, and away you go. There's definitely nothing that's like, oh, well, this is pointless now that I didn't spend money on it. It's like, it's just fun to hop in for a couple rounds. You don't feel like you're missing out on it if you don't buy the diamonds or the silver or the whatever stupid, coinage that they have in the game.
I'm assuming some sort of catnip laced toys.
Yeah, exactly.
Something on a spring, like a fuzzy ball on a spring.
Well, it's one of those things. If you've never seen it before, when I said there's weird cats, I mean I literally mean there's weird fucking cats in this. So your first unit is like literally, it looks like a little cat head with just little nubs sticking out the bottom as its legs. And then you have something called the tall cat, and he looks like a pill shape, but he's like a really tall cat, and he thwacks the enemies with his body.
See, now when I hear tall cats, all I'm thinking is the tall cat parade from Professor Genki's Super Ethical Reality.
Oh my God, no, it has nothing to do with any of that.
No Saints Row 3 nonsense. Okay, fair enough.
And then you have like zombie cat, and you have wing cat, and there's fucking bomb cat. It literally looks like a bomb, but it has a cat's face on it.
Sure.
They have swimming cat, who literally looks like an athletic Olympic swimmer, but it has a cat head on it, and he swims through the ground.
Okay.
And he jumps up and dives into the enemies, and like just weird shit like that.
So, as a non-mobile gaming player who generally does not game on the phone at all, would you recommend Battle Cats to me?
Yeah, it's just
it's tactical game, or is it
like a kind of like not turret defense. I don't even know if they have a term for it, but it's literally one of those ones where you throw waves of enemies at each other and you try to beat down theirs towards their base so you can destroy their base. But if they throw more shit at you and their enemies start beating your guys down, then they destroy your base. So it's like a war of attrition. I don't know.
It reminds me of that Viking one. What the hell was it called? Where you would, I don't even remember the thing.
But you basically just have different units. Of course, the bigger, badder units, they cost more money. Your money just slowly ticks up, but you can upgrade that so it goes up faster. And
there was one like that with Vikings.
I think. Oh yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
It was on PSN, on PS4 and PS3.
So yeah, similar to that, but it was. It's a fun little game, and again, completely free. I mean, all right, you can spend money on it, but you'll have fun either way.
All right, Battle Cats.
So what have you been playing though? Because you've actually been, in the house playing stuff.
I was playing Dragon Quest 11 for a while. Been getting deeper into that, and then that kind of got thrown out the window as I've been playing. Something else. I've been hands-on with Assassin's Creed Odyssey since last Thursday.
Yes.
And while I can confirm that I'm playing it, I cannot review it. And while I cannot give away aspects of the plot,
Obviously, NDAs.
I can certainly discuss features and things to expect that we've been talking about all along and confirm certain things that we've been discussing.
I guess one of the things that I would like to know, if you can tell me, is just, can you give me a yay or nay? Anything like that.
I can't.
You can't, okay. No, that's fine.
Per the terms of the embargo,
yeah.
I am still playing the game. It's a very long game.
Okay.
And I've got a long way to go in it, even though I have already played a great deal of it.
Okay.
I've been playing a lot of it, and I've been playing not much of anything else.
Okay.
That is as clinical as I could possibly be.
And can you confirm or deny my suspicions when I saw the very first trailer that it's not technically an Assassin's game, but a Templar's game?
Actually, at this point, I can't.
That's really?
Not I can't say it.
You don't know yet.
No, I'm assuming that it will end up being the case, and I can't really discuss the aspects of the plot that give me that idea. But it's like that seems to be everyone's sort of assumption.
Just from just kind of tearing down the trailer, like when it was shown at E3 and whatnot, just looking at everything that was kind of involved in it and stuff like that, I feel very strongly that that's what it's going to be.
So we're going to be talking about that a lot more in depth later on. That's going to be our big ticket tonight, since that's coming out like in just over a week at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think, is going to be something that once I can actually say, and actually we can show certain aspects of the streamed game, if I'm not mistaken, as of tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, well
we can't show plot.
We can Nothing plot driven.
We can show side quests. We can show gameplay. We can show mechanics. We can't show any of the main quest items. We can't show certain side quests that have an effect on the main quest, and we can't show. There's a whole menu that you're not even allowed to show.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like
I'm gonna guess
rife with spoilers.
I was gonna say probably has something to do with like a skill tree or something. No,
yeah, I can show you the skill tree.
Okay.
They have a really robust skill tree in this one, so that's good. We'll talk about that in a lot more depth as part of our big ticket later on. So in the meantime, this is kind of we're getting into that season. We have a pretty big spread here on the Triple D. So
well, yeah, it's that time for all like the heavy hitters to finally come down. Unfortunately, there's not a lot this week yet, but
dis down.
Yeah, dis downs and DLC, Jack. You can say it. It's all right.
Can I?
It's completely acceptable.
All right, what's new? What do we got?
I said so. You know what? Honestly,
and starting today, it is Tuesday.
Yeah, starting today. This is today's list, so you can actually go find these right now.
Technically,
if
we're
you
doing
care to.
the heavy lifting rather than you going out to Xbox Live or PSN. Just turn it on.
Yeah, so there's if you're a boxing fan and you have a PSVR, you can check out Creed Rise to Glory.
If you like Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan, of course.
Because, of course, Michael Jordan is also an actor, thanks to Space Jam.
But not a boxer.
No, he is not.
But yeah, they finally brought out a boxing game for PSVR. It's called Creed Rise to Glory.
Technically, he's not much of a golfer either.
Yeah, but everyone knows
whole
that.
Other discussion. But yeah, it's kind of neat. Like, I'm thinking back to like the original PS Move games, like Danny Trejo with the fight.
Yes,
like that was an entertaining game.
It's unfortunate that they had some talent behind it, and they were kind of pushing because PSVR was such a new, or Move was such a new thing at that point. So I really wanted to like that game, but it just was not good.
It was okay. It was fun.
It was passable, I think.
It was entertaining. Anyway,
so yeah, that I think it's kind of sports heavy. This
gotta grab the timer.
This release. Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah, we're also getting, of course, a huge one, FIFA 19. I mean, that is international fandom right there. This one is, I feel like this one outsells like any of the NFL, NBA, NHL games do every year
because it has global appeal.
It's worldwide.
Yeah,
so,
and football is huge everywhere but North America. Basically.
Exactly, unless we make it to the World Finals and then America loses their shit and they're just like, yeah, we did it. And
bandwagon jumpers.
Yeah, basically.
They don't give a shit.
One that I'm finally want to get my hands on, which I have not actually gotten to touch yet, was Hollow Knight. So we're getting the Void Heart edition.
Indeed.
So this is the one with all the DLC.
Yeah.
And that one comes out in digital on PS4.
Strikes me as another good sort of Metroidvania kind of platform.
Yes, absolutely. And it's gotten great reviews ever since. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that one.
Nice graphic, says Roz Knowingville. Thank you. I have no idea what she's talking about, but that's okay.
Did you forget to switch this? I wasn't even paying attention.
No, it's switched.
Okay.
It's absolutely switched.
All right, we're good then.
I'm going to take that as a genuine compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Life is Strange, episode 1. So this is another big one that a lot of people have been waiting for. Because
Life is Strange 2, of course.
Sorry, Life is Strange 2, episode 1. Because we got, of course, Life is Strange, huge game. We had that free DLC. What was it? Captain... I can't remember
Beefheart.
No, not Captain
Caveman.
It was the child
Yeah,
that had like
I
the
know.
superhero persona and whatnot. But
I'm
it was
just
in
gonna call
between.
him Captain Beefheart.
It was really cool on their part to actually give you that kind of like that free DLC in between.
Right.
It was kind of bridge the gap and kind of give you something to snack on while you were waiting for episode 1 to actually start.
But now I'm just expecting that kid to die, and it's going to be all sad.
Hey, I mean, it's Life is Strange, man. I mean,
Like,
that's kind of their MO.
You know what? I went into playing Heavy Rain, and it's like the guy with the kids, and it was fine, and then it's just dead kids. You're not going to get me again with this. Life is Strange 2?
And
see
then
you coming, Ubi.
Another big one that, just like a lot of these kind of indie 2D side-scrolling works of art that I've been waiting to play, like a lot of Metroidvania-style games.
Yep.
Time Spinner. This is a game I've been watching for about 6 years now.
See, I didn't even tag that as one of note. You'll have to tell me what this is.
You'll have to watch a trailer for it after.
Okay.
Anyone out there, if you're a fan of like Castlevania specifically, Symphony of the Night, and Final Fantasy-esque graphics, it really feels like a mashup between those with a time jump mechanic in it too, to how to solve certain boss fights and puzzles and stuff like that. Absolutely gorgeous looking game, has looked amazing this whole time, so I'm glad to say that it is finally out. So yeah, totally looking forward to that one.
And that comes out today or tomorrow?
Yeah, that one is today. And Valkyria Chronicles 4. I thought that was coming out later.
Nope.
That one actually took me by surprise. So
Today.
there you go, Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Yep.
Hopefully it's better than 3.
Well, it goes back to the sort of the same standard design of the first and second one.
It feels like a return to form after 3 really kind of went off the rails.
I think that was one that was only available on portable, and I don't think it came west, so I've never actually seen that one.
I know that it got bad reviews. Like
did not get
nobody
good
seemed to like that one. So yeah, I really hope that it's a return to form. And
oh wait, are you confusing that one with Valkyria Chronicles? It had a subtitle. It was
all I remember is when I watched it, it was more like a third-person shooter, and this guy had giant lances.
It was like a Musu thing.
Yeah, it was almost like that kind of like it. It was a Valkyria Chronicles game.
Yeah,
but it's like they completely forgot where they came from, and they just made a completely different game out of it.
I don't think that was Valkyria Chronicles 3. It was like in that universe, but it was like a side story. And maybe someone in the chat's faster at searching than I am.
Oh, and Player's Guide. I mean, catch up. I mean, they're worth playing. They're absolutely worth playing.
Oh, Valkyria Chronicles?
Yeah,
definitely. That's amazing. Like, especially the first one, if you have a Switch.
I mean, the first one is one of those masterpieces, basically. It's like a Shadow of the Colossus. It's just something that you have to fucking play.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's really good if you like tactics.
Shut up. That's one of my favorite games.
I'm just saying, like, Shadow of the Colossus is pretty iconic.
It's iconic. It's a work of art.
Right.
And it is just... It's something that is... Well, I mean, granted, Shadow of the Colossus is a very different game compared to a lot of other games. But
different.
To be fair, Valkyria Chronicles takes a basic genre, but really makes it its own thing.
Oh, definitely.
Though. Yeah.
Especially like stylistically, like the art design really set it apart. But the way the gameplay was set up, like the whole real time / turn-based strategy. It's kind of a bit of both.
Yeah,
it's a weird hybrid.
It's a great mashup between the two of them.
But
Oh, okay, and you've barely played 1 and 2 a bunch. It's just, But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's... You know what? I think even the bad ones are probably still worth playing just to get into that kind of universe again. But yeah, so 4 is coming out to digital and retail, so look forward to that one too.
It had a different name. It was in that universe. It wasn't a Valkyria Chronicles game.
Oh, okay. It was a Valkyria something else.
I'm going to have to look it up. But yeah, Valkyria Chronicles 3 was in 2011. That one you're talking about came out fairly recently, and it was like an action game, like a Musu game, and it was not good.
Yeah.
It was a completely different story. This is another tactical game, which of course means that it's going to have... Oh, wait, is it... Valkyria Revolution last year.
Oh, I guess that was the one then.
Yeah, it was not good. 54% on Metacritic.
There you go.
That's the one. Yeah.
And that's the big one too, Metacritic. So, I mean, yeah, it didn't do well in there. It didn't do well anywhere.
Okay, so, but Valkyria Chronicles 4 is getting good reviews, so hopefully I still have to catch up with the other ones. I'm hoping they're going to port. I think 3. We have 2 available on portable because I bought it for the Vita. But 3 I don't think ever came west.
We'll talk about that later.
Yep. That is on the list. Yep. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, that was basically my list there. So
okay, I got a couple of notable ones I'm going to quickly run through. This is the Police 2, hopefully better than This is the Police 1.
And I didn't mention that one because you were so disappointed with the first one.
The first one was disappointing. I have not heard whether or not the second one is has corrected that. Warface has been a thing for a while. I don't know why, but people keep mentioning Warface.
I feel like it's one of those ones that, like, if you played PUBG and then you sucked at it, and then you played Fork Knife and then you sucked at that, then you went to Warface with a really small player base and you're like, yes, I can actually kill someone here. I love this game. That's basically what you're getting into.
Warface, I mean, just from my very limited exposure to the game, it strikes me as something that people who like the Army of Two would like.
It just feels like a really, really dumbed down version of those other like multiplayer mashup killer kind of things, and it's I don't. From what I've seen, it does not look great.
Pizza Titan Ultra comes to Xbox One tomorrow, which was that like very interesting.
Lucky game. Xbox owners, yes, absolutely.
From a couple weeks back, that was out. Armello comes to the Switch on the 27th, which is always good.
Yep.
FIFA 19 you mentioned. Amnesia Collection comes to Xbox One on the 28th.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mention that one for reasons.
Not really your thing. Forza Horizon 4 Ultimate Edition has been getting good reviews, but here's the thing. The Ultimate Edition releases on the 28th.
Yeah.
The actual game comes out on the 2nd. It has this whole 2-tier release. If you buy the regular edition, you got to wait a week, or you can spend the extra money. And I hate that. There's a new thing, and I hate this.
It's forced DLC, basically, at that point.
You're just people in their fear of missing out. They need to have it immediately, so they will shell out the extra $20 instead of waiting.
I wish, like, just in general, in gaming, if we're going to go in this direction where we're going to have all these different editions that are going to have different stuff tacked onto them and everything like that, I want some laws and rules so we have clarity in what these games are called then.
Sure.
Because there are issues of people now buying games where you click on that little drop-down list and be like, which copy do you want to buy? And there's 3 fucking names. And you'll have, like, the name of the game, and then you'll have the name of the game, it'll be, like, Ultimate Edition, and then you'll have, like, another one that says Collector's Edition, and then there'll be one that says, like, Complete Edition, and it's just like... And then I've bought in complete editions that weren't fucking complete. So let's get some clarity in what these fucking names mean.
Yep. So, by the way, Assassin's Creed Odyssey has like 5 different skins.
Yeah, and Ubisoft is really bad at that too.
All right, September the 28th, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, or Fighters if you want to be an idiot, comes to the Switch.
Hey, it works both ways.
Yeah, you might remember that game from the time I beat the hell out of Valbel with it. It was a brutal blowout. It was like uncontested victory on my part.
Beginner's luck.
You can go watch the video of that. He was very upset. Of course, we just received today news about the Xbox Live Games with Gold for October. So for October, Overcooked is coming from October 1st to the 31st, which is a great game.
Such a good game.
Love that. If you like we've done that on Doing Stuff is Fun multiple times.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll probably play it. We'll play 2 this time.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We never even finished the first one. There's so much, and all the DLC.
It's so fucking hard.
It is. Like once you get past the first couple areas. Victor Vran, which I think is kind of a Van Helsing sort of game.
Oh, like a top-down shooter kind of thing with werewolves?
I know that there are a couple of them, and they're decently popular, so it has some recognition. I've just never actually played it. I think it's in my Steam list because of Humble Bundle, but I've never actually played it. But October 16th to November 15th, you'll get that. For Xbox 360, and of course, backwards compatible for Xbox One, Stuntman Ignition comes October 1st to 15th.
Oh, yeah.
And Hitman Blood Money comes 16th to 31st. Blood Money, any Hitman game is good. Yeah. Love me some Hitman. By the way, fun news, Call of Juarez, rather, the cartel, is now backwards compatible for Xbox One.
Yes. I'm so happy to hear that is available now.
Or you can play Bound in Blood, the much superior Call of Juarez game. and not play Call of
I
or as
feel
the
with
Cartel.
how shitty the Cartel game looks, I could like play it on my smartphone. Honestly, like it's just terrible.
Just play Battle Cats instead.
Yeah, I'd much rather play Battle
Yep.
Cats. Way more entertaining. Way more deeper lore in the story. And
Which is sad because their Western games were actually really good.
yeah.
Okay, so one other thing we have to notice, and it leads nicely into our anti-releases section, also comes out today, Walking Dead Final Season Episode 2.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and so under anti-releases,
Hit
we
us
have
with those anti-releases. We all know what they are.
the rest of the final season of The Walking Dead and
Yep.
potentially everything else that Telltale had in the pipe.
R.I.P.
Yeah, so today's news, kind of thematically appropriate, will be an Odyssey. It's gonna be a rough go at the start. There's a lot of bad news, but I've kind of stacked it so it starts off terrible and it gets better as we go.
Oh, good. As long as we can build to something.
Right. So we just have to keep powering through.
Yeah.
It's gonna be rough, but we'll get there. It will literally be an Odyssey.
We'll make it. Don't
Exactly.
worry. We're gonna get there.
It's kind of like that day where we were doing Switch News and like the whole news cycle was all bad.
Yes. That was a rough day.
It was very rough.
rough.
But no, it starts off terrible and there's some actually really great news by the end.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so of course, what we're talking about, Telltale Games just imploded. So last week there was rumors like of wide-scale layoffs, and there was some people confirming, some people talking about how widespread. Turns out by Friday it was confirmed, like 90% of the whole studio was laid off.
Yep.
So some 225 people lost their jobs, and literally people were working till 3 a.m. the night before and did not know. It's like
it's almost
Arrested Development where you show up
yeah.
and they go and load your computers into the truck and now you're all fired.
It's almost heartbreaking to see, really. It's
very
not one of
heartbreaking.
those things where you see a large company like that and you see the slow decline and all the last game didn't do too good and stuff like that. No, this was one of those ones. They were a beloved company. You talk to anyone about, like, especially the Walking Dead series, just loved across the world.
Yeah, how many Game of the Year's awards did it win for the first
like
season?
all of them. Like this is one of those ones that they did so much with so little, and they just kept pumping out just these golden stories, and they cornered the market on that stuff, which is why it was so shocking to see them just go under suddenly like that.
So here's this list, right? Listen to what they've put out. Like, they're responsible for The Wolf Among Us, Tales from the Borderlands, Minecraft Story Mode, the Guardians of the Galaxy series, Batman the Telltale series, Game of Thrones, and The Walking Dead.
Yep.
So those are some high-profile IPs they were working with.
I know, and it's just, again, that's why I'm like, that's why it's so shocking to see that, because obviously they had the clout behind them to get these licenses. They had the talent that just kept putting these games out.
Yeah.
And they were just beloved. And
they were just not making the money, apparently.
Yeah, all of a sudden it was, I don't know, maybe it was the whole thing of, because that's the thing is with AAA games and stuff, they're trying to, they always try to put multiplayer in.
Just 69 My Sister. Great name.
Hey, welcome to the chat.
They keep suggesting those videos to me, and I don't know why. Anyway.
So yeah, you have all this, PvP, DLC, extended stories, and extra DLC, and like all this other kind of stuff.
Right.
Whereas these games, they're kind of a standalone. You buy them for the story. So maybe it was just kind of a natural thing of, well, once you buy this game and you play the story, is it worth playing again? So there isn't as much replay value.
There's definitely a market for that. You look at Life is Strange, which is basically the same exact thing.
That's very true. Life is Strange could easily be a Telltale type game.
Right. So I think the part of the problem was that their company had grown too large and they were taking on more than they actually should, even for the size of the company they were. They actually forced out the original co-founder of the studio, who was the CEO. He was ousted last year. They brought in a guy, Pete Hawley, who's a former VP of games at Zynga, if you can believe it.
Oh, okay.
I guess maybe he left after Don Matrick came in. I don't know. So he's trying to right the ship because apparently the whole studio had problems with toxic work environments and just continuous crunch from project to project. They never had enough resources. So he tried to streamline the studio, and I don't know that maybe he knocked the feet out from under the studio just as they were trying to get their legs with the Stranger Things contract they had. And
see, they had some of that exciting stuff on the horizon, so that's why it's kind of extra sad to see them go. I have a friend who also was huge into the the Guardians of the Galaxy one, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
was really hoping for a second season of that among the Wolf Among Us. Like, he was a huge fan of that
yeah.
one too. So
They were going to have that in the pipe, and it's never going to come to pass. I was hoping for a second season of like Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah.
The first season was fantastic. So literally only 25 employees are left.
Yeah.
All they're doing is they're working on fulfilling the rest of their the completion of Minecraft story mode.
Yeah.
So that's going to be
It's
done.
their skeleton crew, so they
Right.
can finish out kind of what they set out to do with those specific titles.
But The Walking Dead
And then-
is not being finished.
Yeah, I know, and that's really unfortunate. Like,
Right.
again, it was never one of my darlings, but I know a lot of my friends and just a lot of people across the world, they lived and died by that game. Like, it just did so much to kind of bring a story-based game into the light, rather than it needing to be, you know, like future military tech and online play and everything like that. That was amazing to see so many people respond to something like that compared to what AAA gaming was doing at the time.
Yeah, well, Telltale...
And we're never going to get to see the end of it now.
Well, maybe not. I mean, Telltale was basically formed by ex-LucasArts people who lived and breathed adventure games going all the way back to like Monkey
and again,
Island,
that
right?
showed in their pedigree there. Like, that's why those games were so successful.
So those games are obviously still desirable and still enjoyed by people. It's just that, I guess the money wasn't there based on their studio structure. I don't know.
Yeah.
But regardless, right now Telltale says they're working with some partners. Some people have stepped forward to say our studio will complete the last 2 episodes. So they're trying to put those together in some form.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll necessarily be the same arc they were going to do as before. I don't know how much is written.
Yeah, they might
They're
have
not
to
releasing that.
They might have to roll it back just a little.
Who knows? If they've already had, I'm assuming they have the script written, so they know where it's going. I don't know how much they already had completed, but if the second season just launched today, they're talking about with their timelines being so tight, they're going from crunch to crunch to crunch.
Yeah.
Probably there is not much done on episode 3 or episode 4 other than scripting.
Yeah.
Probably. So we'll see. But they're still apparently still working towards that solution. Netflix has confirmed, though Telltale is no longer doing the Stranger Things game, they still do want to make a Stranger Things game. So they're going to find someone else.
I guarantee they've already got 10 companies knocking at their door saying, "We want it. Let's do that. Let's do that one."
Rumor has it some folks have heard of Stranger Things.
Maybe. Yeah.
There's a lot more news there, but honestly, I don't think my heart can take it.
Yeah.
So
and
sad.
Was it the Minecraft one is still
yeah, that's the one they're actually going to finish with their 25 guys.
Yeah,
and then after that, who knows?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
But you did enjoy the Minecraft one.
Oh,
though.
the Minecraft one, I didn't think it was going to be good. I played the demo, and it's like, wow, this is actually pretty charming.
Yeah.
And the storyline, by the end, there's a terrible cliffhanger at the end of season 1. It's like, I cannot believe they did that. Yeah. So if I could be that invested for block people voiced by like Patton Oswalt, it was actually surprisingly entertaining.
Can't really go wrong with Patton Oswalt.
So in other zombie studio closure news, Capcom Vancouver announced last week they're shuttering down as well.
Another sad one I just found on Facebook randomly one day because one of my friends was saying, like, boy, I'm glad I didn't try to get a job there.
Yeah, so formerly known as Blue Castle Games, of course, they're Capcom's major Western studio. They're primarily known for Puzzle Fighter and for, of course, Dead Rising, which has been their bread and butter now for a number of years, going back to, I think, Dead Rising 2.
Yeah.
So 2 off the record, 3 and 4.
Yeah, not a fan favorite by a long shot.
I bought it just to be a completionist, but out of the 4, technically 5, not the greatest. So Capcom representative gave a statement to Kotaku about the closure, saying, as a result of reviewing titles in development at Capcom Vancouver, Capcom has decided to cancel development project at this studio, and they were apparently working on Dead Rising 5.
Okay.
Sigh. And will concentrate development of major titles in Japan. So,
it probably wouldn't have been good anyways.
No, after 4, there were some interesting, like the open-ended multiplayer mode was kind of an interesting idea, but there was too big a departure from the established formula. And I mean, let's be honest, we're going back to Off the Record and Dead Rising 2, because 3 was okay, but it was already kind of veering away.
That was a definite left turn from what they had created in the previous 2 years.
That was kind of more of a visual and sort of a thematic. It was less fun, we'll say. Not fun, but I mean like
It was kind of like you had
whimsical.
you had Red Faction Guerrilla,
Right.
and then you had Armageddon. You had Frank in number 2, and then you had what's his name in number 3, and it was just like I felt like it just completely stepped away from that.
Oh God, what was the guy in 3's
Yeah,
name?
see, I honestly don't even remember now.
Something.
All I remember is it harkened back to a
remember.
time when trailers were brown.
Yes.
So much brown in the color tones.
Well,
like
it was so that the blood would show up better, right?
it enhanced the blood color.
So what awesome Stranger Things? Oh, was that the 8-bit one? Like the
yes, the smartphone one.
Right.
They should literally just bring that to consoles, because that was an excellent game.
Remastered.
Oh, it's not even remastered. A direct port.
Sure, that'd
Just
be fine.
make it work with a controller instead of a tap phone.
Hey,
but
if Thomas is alone can do well on current gen consoles.
yeah,
I'm sure.
that's true. Yeah.
Plus, I hear that people like the Stranger Things.
Yeah, just a little.
All right.
Season 3 and all.
So 158 people are laid off, a skeleton crew that will remain until January 2019 to finalize closure operations and logistics. So apparently Dead Rising 4 was not only worse than they expected, but they lost a lot of money on that. So
Yeah.
I heard it was not terrible, but just kind of
Yeah, which again is really unfortunate,
Yeah.
because that you could tell that they were trying that kind of return to form, because they know that they kind of lost a few fans on 3, so they're like, let's not only bring it back to kind of the wacky side, but let's just bring Frank back. And
then there's the whole problem of making it like Xbox One exclusive.
yeah, like I feel like it
That was
would have
an
been a
issue.
different situation if they had just gone
Right.
everywhere, like just let it release on everything, even put a fucking Switch edition out. I don't know,
especially after PS4 ended up being the dominant console,
Yeah,
as opposed to the opposite
I think
way
just
around.
when they were developing it originally, they were betting on the wrong horse at that point, and it just came out the way it did. So yeah,
Unfortunate. All right, so that's the second piece of bad news. How we doing? Still good?
we're good. This isn't soul crushing.
It's kind of crippling for me because I'm a big Dead Rising fan. Like you know we have all the
Oh,
videos
I know.
out there, right?
You literally have the Dead Rising games like 3 times over in various remasters and consoles and whatnot.
PS4 ones were awesome. So anyway, so starting in 2019 as well, Sony is going to stop shipping the PlayStation Vita hardware in Japan.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's it.
You know what? The only thing I'm shocked by is that this didn't happen sooner.
Well, I mean, that's just it, right? The Vita, the first party software was not happening. The second party or third party software, they weren't spending money to develop specifically for the Vita. The thing that's keeping it afloat is indie ports.
The chat.
Indie ports.
It disappeared.
Basically, right? So all the indie games got ported to the Vita, and they kept having a continuous stream of these, and now that the Switch is out, it's kind of eating Vita's lunch. So it's like, just pull the plug, take it off life support.
You might as well. I mean, it's there's really no point at this time now, because it's you have the Switch, which is a home console / mobile console.
Right.
3DS was already kicking its teeth in at that point, and now so that's Nintendo's like 99.9% market share. So they're just like, it's not worth it anymore. There really isn't. There's no developers interested in it. It's literally just a porting machine.
It was still, I mean, that was the problem, right? It was such an advanced console, but it wasn't advanced enough that they could port PS3 or Xbox 360 stuff.
It was caught
to it.
kind of in this weird space in between.
So they had to have specific developers developing for it, and the install base just wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is terrible because the hardware, again, was so good.
Yep. It's one of those things. It was a solid machine, but it just like anything else. Like if you have all like the craziest bits on your console, you have the most advanced tech, you have like crazy motion controls and VR and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it could cost $5. But if developers aren't making the fucking games, no one's going to buy it. That's what it comes down to. Developers need to make games for it.
Just like the Atari Jaguar.
Yes, exactly.
Nothing at all like the Atari Jaguar.
Although I think the Jaguar kept toting that it was advanced, but holy fuck, was it ever not.
It's not stupid. It's advanced. Okay. So, Nintendo Switch Online launched, I believe, a week ago. Mm-hmm. Actually, it might have been the week before by now, but it was not that long ago. How long do you think it took hackers to hack the NES library and add in ROMs?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to give them like 10 minutes.
It was less than a day. It was certainly less than a day. So hackers figured out basically the same day they figured out how to hack the library and upload new ROMs. So apparently, the Nintendo Switch Online app that holds the NES games, it holds basically they're treating them like the plain NES files, so like emulation files.
Okay, yeah.
And they have a plain text database that lists all the compatible games that you can easily modify.
Okay.
So it was done before the smoke cleared, essentially. It's like, boom, Nintendo Switch on, and you're hacking it already.
Yeah.
So it's apparently very similar to the app that they actually use for the NES Classic.
Okay.
So, and that hacking had already been done.
I mean, yeah, that's a given. I mean, if you give them a tool and then you have the online version that basically is the same thing, yeah, it's not going to take them long to affect it.
So the caveats are it only works with Switches that have had their firmware hacked already.
Yeah.
And they've already sort of warned people that there are like the certificate checks and the license checks that Nintendo does on its software already. Apparently there is some measure of that data still going back, so probably they've got some security in place, but hackers can find their way around that, I'm sure.
Yeah, because it's one of those things, like if you're an amateur hacker, probably don't dive into it yet because you could brick your system.
Like, how much does Metroid cost to buy for the 5th time, really?
I mean, yeah, that's one of those things. If you're that sour on it, then don't get it.
I would literally rather hook up my Wii.
Yeah.
So fuck you,
because you already
Nintendo.
own it on there. So
and and 4 other fucking times. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So no love for the virtual console. So in other bad news about the Switch. Nintendo would like to reassure you that when playing games in the NES library, that the CRT filter is not causing damage to your screen.
Okay.
Are you reassured?
I was going to say, are people complaining about this?
Right?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Because I wasn't worried about it before, but I fucking am now.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Everyone's just playing away, enjoying it, and Nintendo chimes in and say, hey, don't worry, that's not going to break your TV.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Nobody said anything about snakes. So yeah, apparently it's one of the filters, right? If you see on emulators where they do the CRT style, where it like does the line skip,
yeah.
It's very similar to that, so it looks very much what you used to see. It still looks crisper even then, but it emulates that. So that was being used. That filter was applied. Apparently, the way it was happening is the filter wasn't disabling properly. So back on the home screen, it was showing discolorations and lines still.
Oh, okay.
So people were thinking, holy crap, this is burn-in.
It like burnt into my screen. And
no. So if you go back into the virtual console, sorry.
The game, whatever.
Yeah, the NES library, and you load a different filter, you turn off that filter, and then you go back into your home screen, it's fine. It's probably just a patching issue.
It'll be a quick fix. It'll be like, when you leave game, the filter will shut off or something like that. Yeah.
So it's not causing permanent damage. You don't have to worry.
It's a CRT filter will not damage your screen. However, your eyes may experience some burning sensation.
And it's for loading and unloading. There is no parking in the red zone.
Only burning with nostalgia.
Yep. And finally, just a friendly reminder to Nintendo Switch Online subscribers that cloud backups do not happen automatically. You have to turn them on individually for every game.
That seems kind of weird.
It kind of does.
I feel like that should just be like a, hey, here's my profile. Here's the options for it. Turn them on or off. Like
technically, it's the same thing for like Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but for the PS4, when you load up the game for the first time, it says, "Hey, do you want to turn?" Actually, I think it's PS3 only. I think PS4 does it automatically.
Yeah, PS4 does it.
Right, but it comes up.
There is a prompt though.
Yeah.
There is something that alerts you to like, do you want to do this?
First time, do you want to? Yes, and you're done. Right? It's not like I have to dig into the menu and turn it on and remember to turn it on for every game that I've had until now.
They're going with the nostalgia flavor of like, remember back in the day when you manually had to save your game, there was no auto saves.
They're like, unless they're gonna give me a fucking ball password in the grid like Mega Man. Like, this is just, they're putting in the minimum necessary effort again. It's why do people not test this shit?
Don't start with the red zone bullshit, Jack. The white zone has always been for loading and unloading.
Thanks, James Marine, for picking up on the joke. Carried it over the line. You drive it that 9 yards, he drives it that last yard over the fucking line.
Thanks, John.
Cheers to you, sir. All right, so Devil May Cry 5 at TGS. director Hidetaki Itsuno, he gave a closed-door demonstration of Devil May Cry 5. A lot of the combat, and they went into the upgrade system, which is their what they call the divinity statue.
Okay.
So it's their upgrade tree and whatnot.
Yeah, their skill tree kind of thing.
Right. You're trading in your red orbs that you get from everything.
Yeah.
And there was a little thing at the bottom. You can buy more for real-world money, microtransactions in the game.
You know what? That one, as long as it's like a little more balanced, I'm okay, kind of okay with that. No, I'm not okay with that.
No.
I keep it out of the fucking game, okay? Even in the past games,
Yep.
I'm sure there were times where people were like, man, I wish I could just fucking buy these things, because there's literally with the other iterations of Devil May Cry,
Yep.
you had to play multiple times if you wanted to fully upgrade everything. So
Just concentrate on a particular set of skills that you
well, that's the whole
right?
thing. Is it's like that's what I always did. It's like, what weapon do I like using the best? What
Yeah.
gun do I like using the best? I'll pump all the red orbs into those weapons because those are the ones I want to fucking use.
Right.
If you're a completionist, yeah, you're gonna play the game multiple times anyways.
Yes,
so,
it's time for microtransactions.
Yeah.
That's correct, chat.
So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but I guess it's. I want to say it's not as skeezy as like having like full locked shit like content in the game, because you are literally just buying a thing that's already in the game.
Yeah.
So it doesn't it's not as bad, but it's still just kind of sucks. Like, it's still kind of greasy.
One of these days, we're going to plot it out on a graph like the Madden fucking chart, and we're going to have the arc of, like, skeezy to, like, like okay to skeezy, right? So on the chart, like,
where
stuff
does
like
it
this,
fall?
it's fairly low on the thing, right? Whereas you, like, full exclusive content you have to pay, like, $4 for.
This will be content, this will be price, and it's where does it fall in there?
It's like Dead Space 2 and 3 and Devil May Cry 5 all the way up to Star Citizen.
And, like, Destiny.
Yes. I would put Star Citizen up there.
Oh, that'll be off the chart. We'll just pin it to the roof.
It's going to be in the second floor of the studio. So, yeah, I mean, the thing is that they actually snuck it in, and none of us had gone back. Like, I played Devil May Cry 4 on the last generation, right? I haven't played the special edition.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a feature in the special edition to Devil May Cry 4.
Oh, so they've already, like, pulled this shit then.
Yeah, so it's kind of a very quiet end run. Oh, yeah, it's a feature we've always had. Quote. So, spring 2019, Devil May Cry 5.
But on the Devil May Cry news, that is one that I might consider actually getting, like, the, I don't know, not collector's edition, but like the kind of like full edition of it or whatever.
Sure.
Because they have the typical stuff of like, oh, here's some extra skins and stuff like that. But
one might call it the Devil May Buy edition.
Where's your pun pass? But what I did see is that because it's Capcom and they love taunting us Mega Man fans with Mega Man tasty treats, is they actually have the fucking Buster in the game, so you can use it as a weapon. And
have they done that in previous ones?
No, none of the Devil May Cry games. They've used the Mega Buster in
Dead Rising.
In Dead Rising, yes.
They don't have them to kick around anymore.
But yeah, like literally, you see Nero running around, and it's like on his arm. And I don't know if they have like a specially dedicated level, or they just chose a level that really suited the style. But they show a playthrough, like a 2-minute kind of play sequence of him using this thing, and they actually have like a 2D plane that he's running on, and then he dives into this arena where he's fighting like a big boss in like full 3D and everything like that. But then there's another part where it shows him on a 2D plane again. It's still like fully 3D, but he's locked to a 2D plane to travel, and he's like blasting enemies along it. And then all of a sudden it shows a sequence where he dies, and it goes boo, 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 and he like goes into like all the pellets and everything. I was like, okay, that's pretty fucking cool. I like that addition to it.
Gimmicky but effective.
Yeah, exactly. So it's something I would consider over other iterations of the game, as long as it's not egregiously expensive.
There it is. Mark your cards.
It's just who will use it first.
Yeah, where's Main Kill Destroy with his egregious watch? All right, so last week, Nintendo was super pleased to find out that Mario Kart and Toad were trending on Twitter globally.
Oh my god, this is so bad.
Yeah, so in Nintendo Life, they tweeted it out, and it's like a couple minutes later, they realized why, and it's like, ooh.
Maybe not.
And Nintendo Life is like a third party, like a fan site. There was a legitimate tweet from Nintendo of America, and it was if you see like a whole line of just dots, and it's like pages and pages, like the whole 280 characters.
Yeah.
And then right at the bottom, it's just a picture of Toad sticking in the corner. It's like no one wanted to talk about it, but they sure laughed about it. Yeah, so we're not going to talk about why, because I don't want to have that thought in my head.
Well, you have to explain to them now why it was trending.
I think everybody knows why Toad was trending last week on Twitter.
Oh, do they?
That 5 minutes on Google, they will find it out.
Trump's dick looks like Toad.
Oh, God.
As per Stormy Daniels.
No.
Although it was funny because, clearly she's not a nerd or a gaming fan or anything like that, because she says it looks like that little mushroom guy from the Mario Kart game.
Yep.
So yeah, that was thoroughly entertaining because it was just so random in the like news that we're in, and like just the shit we have to go through on a daily basis with all the shit that politics and Trump throws at us and stuff like that. That was a very lighthearted, funny thing to finally come out of a lot of that bullshit.
So, and here is by far the Twitter quote of the week.
Yeah.
Max Red versus via Twitter. He says, "What I'm gathering is that President Trump's dick has low top speed, but makes up for it with fast acceleration and solid handling."
Zing! Good on you, sir. Thank you for that.
If I was still producing, I would have the slow clap graphic up. But yeah.
Oh, yes, and other Nintendo news. Yuki is a fan of Bowsette.
Oh, yes.
Which has taken the world by storm in the last 24 hours.
Just another friggin' weird trend. But yeah, they like some guy mocked up...
Nintendo brought it upon themselves. They're like, hey, here's this item that creates fan fiction.
Yeah.
So
I actually reposted. There's a guy who does videos on YouTube. I don't remember the guy's name, but I've seen him a million times. There's a really funny little clip. I reposted it to the Twitter feed for a Digital Fiasco. Check that out.
Yeah, sorry, Janice Marine. It's just you can just rewind and watch that if you want.
We're done. Okay. Moving along. Gouging out my eyes, possibly Bleach. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider came out a couple weeks ago. Week and a half ago or so. So sort of good game. Not as good as the previous games. B+. I think it came in just under 80.
So now that we have a complete trilogy, so the second one was the best game in the trilogy?
I think out of the three, like the first one was good. The story was kind of... The second one was the solid one.
I think, well, because the first one was kind of the first foray into that style of game and that kind of solidity that they had. So they didn't take any big chances. They went with a very safe formula, and it made a solid game that people liked. And then the second one expanded on that. So I guess the third one maybe expanded a little too far. Yeah,
it expanded a little too far. In fact, it expanded so far it actually shipped with the wrong ending.
Wait, what? How does...
Here's the story.
They have games that go gold for a reason.
So, here's the thing.
Okay.
Players that play the game without the day one patch actually get additional scenes that are not in the actual ending, that actually say more than Eidos and Crystal Dynamics wanted to say.
Okay.
Either because they wanted to save it, or they had just gone in a different direction. It's not in the ending. If you patch it, you don't get that scene. Guy went on the internet and said, why isn't anyone talking about this ending?
Yeah.
Everyone said, that's not in the ending. You're just a troll.
Okay.
Then he started posting photos, and it's like, what the heck are those? Those are Photoshopped. They're fake. So then he posts the video, and it's like, wow, that's not in our copy of the game. Turns out the unpatched version has a different ending.
Like completely different?
Not completely different.
But
there's a specific scene that changes things for the next game and possibly for the ending of this game.
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing.
Does he say like how he got around playing with the patch?
You don't have to apply the patch when you start, right?
I've had experience where so many times where it's just like you go to start a game and be like, hey, there's a patch you want to download. Do you want to do this? And they're like, no. And they're like, oh, well, you can't play the game without downloading the patch. So I'm like, well, why'd you give me an option then?
Typically, those are the ones that have a lot of online content, but like single-player games in general, you can play without the patch. It's just usually you don't want to. Because day one patches are usually, oh, shit, we fucked up.
Yeah.
Here's all the fixes we've been working on.
Some last-minute shit that they took care of.
Everything we've done in the last month while we're waiting for these pressed games to actually get to market. It's dumb, but it happens. The Last Jedi also went out to theaters with the wrong ending, too.
I think it went out on the wrong reel.
Yeah. I think the whole ship crashing into the other ship, that was where it kind of, okay. It's like the whole Seinfeld graphic, like, I'm out. So anyway, regardless, we're not bitching about The Last Jedi, just like we're done with Microtransaction Corner.
And yes, Stephen Blade, this is a very special episode because I got in town really, really late last night, way later than anyone watched the show. So
it's a special extended edition with all the news.
Yeah, so we had Comic Sans, and now we've got Digital Fiasco tonight.
So anyway, so in the unpatched ending, you see that Lara Croft, on her desk, she actually has a letter, and on the letter, it's listed as being sent by
Nathan Drake.
No. That would have been a real twist ending. Yeah. No, Jacqueline Natla, who was the mysterious employer from the original 1996 Tomb Raider game.
Oh, okay.
And spoiler alert for the 20-something-year-old game, turns out to be the main antagonist of the game when you go to, I think it's fucking Atlantis, I think is the where you actually end up. So it's like, this is literally a indicator that they're coming full circle and they're going into
now
like
when they make
of the first
new
game.
Games, they're going to make the original series, but like completely brand new.
Right, but apparently not really because they patched that out.
Yeah.
So they say. So here's the thing. They brought this up. They went to Crystal Dynamics. They said, yeah. So during the course of development, you see, it wasn't supposed to ship with the game at all.
Okay.
During the course of development on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, multiple post-credit scenes were explored. Unfortunately, one of the directions that was considered but not chosen was mistakenly included in the game. Day One patch fixes the error along with many other improvements. As always, we highly recommend that our players install the patch to enjoy the complete and most up-to-date experience, possibly with the correct ending. So, I mean, Final Fantasy 15 has paved the way. They patched in plot. Now they are literally patching in completely alternate endings.
They're patching out plot.
Yes. This is like Mass Effect 3, but in reverse.
Honestly, I don't know why they wanted to patch that out in the first place.
Maybe they don't want to do that.
Getting details like that lead into what the original game was, and if that's where they're going in that direction,
maybe they don't want to.
That's only going to make people more excited, I feel.
Are they, though? Because do you really want to fight a Tyrannosaurus in the next game?
Fucking yes, I do. I've always wanted to shoot a T-Rex with a pistol.
Play Horizon 2.
She doesn't have a pistol.
Bow?
Technically,
she did have a rattler.
Now,
that's like a pistol.
Now, I'm not saying like, let's just let Eidos make like the original series now in remastered games, but just kind of going back and having that one nostalgia kick from what the original game was, and doing some of those really wacky things of like just running around with twin pistols, killing a T-Rex that's on an island somewhere, and then like getting mauled by a tiger and everything like that. Like that was that like wacky Tomb Raider adventure because these beasts were attacking you and everything like that. I think they kind of need to go in that direction.
I don't know about that.
Because I started to feel kind of a disconnect of like it was just like her versus these like corporations and shit like that. Like it was just kind of
PMCs, but I mean they're out there doing tomb raiding and stuff. As well.
I don't know. It was just I don't know. I liked the bigger, wackier adventures of Tomb Raider.
I mean, they'd been moving away from the wackier type adventures to a more grounded adventure, like going back to the PS2 era. So I mean, this isn't a new move for them. I think honestly, going back to a full-fledged boss fight with a woman with wings would be a bad step for them.
No, and I'm not saying they have to go full like demigod or anything like that, but I want to shoot a T-Rex, damn it. Maybe. Oh, yes, and of course, Yuki brings up, don't forget about swan diving off cliffs into hot water below, or literally just ground.
Or no water.
And hearing her legs crack.
that wet snapping impact, like to this day.
Like celery snapping in half.
but wetter somehow. Just meteor.
I do have to say, though, it's funny that after the couple weeks of all the spider selfies that we've been getting, we're now starting to get Lara Croft death selfies of her with a big grin on her face, because apparently when you do photo mode, you can change her expressions and everything.
Yep.
So she's like lying on her side with a spike through her head, and she's just like thumbs up with a big smile on her face, and it's pretty entertaining.
All right, so Sega Megadrive Mini, we've talked about that
many times.
It's been pushed back to 2019. And the reason is they also want to do a Sega Genesis Mini for the West. So we're going to get both versions.
Yeah.
It's going to happen simultaneously, globally. It's going to be still powered by the questionable AT Games emulation engine.
I really hope they update it, because, I mean, we've had these issues now, so it's like, why? Fix it!
I think with Sega actually putting their name on it, they're going to demand a certain level of QA
Yeah.
Especially regarding, I think the big problem they had was like the sound emulation was the major issue they had.
Yeah.
So with Sega actually on board, maybe they can work together. I don't know, but I kind of still want it as long as they have all 4 Phantasy Star games on it. So.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see on that.
2019, early 2019, but it's going to be global.
It's interesting that we're kind of in this era of now it's like, as you know, kind of older nerd collectors and stuff like that now, instead of having like this giant collection on the wall where you have to have this big unit to have all these consoles, it's like you could literally have a little shoebox thing and have like these tiny little systems of here's your PlayStation, your Nintendo, your Super Nintendo, the Megadrive, the like all this other stuff. I'm waiting for the 64 one still. That's mine that I gotta get.
Tiny Nintendo, tiny Super Nintendo. Eat your stupid food, you stupid bitch.
Play your fucking games, bitch.
Yeah. All right. So, did you see the new Death Stranding trailer while you were away?
I actually just watched it today.
Yep.
Just to get it fresh in my mind.
Right. So, the new Death Stranding trailer that debuts Troy Baker's new character.
Yes.
Who's, of course, he's now like
very Troy Baker in the trailer.
Oh, he's like super Troy Baker. He's like
very boisterous and
kind of the swashbuckling Troy Baker.
He's got that swag going on.
Yeah. So he plays the Man in the Golden Mask, who doesn't have a name yet officially.
Yep.
So I was Man in the Golden Mask. I'm testing some names out. What do you think of Goldface?
Goldface.
or perhaps 24 Karat Head.
How about 24 karat Goldface?
24 karat Goldface, possibly. You might get cash for Goldface
or Facehead.
Facehead. So yeah, if you watch the trailer, he has a mask, a gold mask over another mask.
Yeah.
Which he uses to summon a Cthulhu monster made of shadow.
Made of those like demon things that come out of the ground.
Yeah, and somehow also wears a gold mask and becomes a giant lion.
Yeah.
Twirly.
Goldface and his gold-faced inky tentacle
Goldface.
dog.
There you go. Yeah. So, on the scale of Kojima and what we've seen for Death Stranding, this hasn't even really peaked over the baseline. I saw that and I'm like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, we're coming out of that like what the fuck Kojima to like. Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is very much Kojima now. Yeah. Like before, it was just like it was very slow and mysterious, and now it's just like. Yeah, if there were more robots in this could be mistaken for almost a Metal Gear game at this point.
There was the one trailer where it had fucking what's his face, the director. Del
Toro.
Guillermo del Toro. He's walking through the tunnel, and you had Mads Mikkelsen there with all the guys from
on ropes and everything.
Yeah, the refugees from Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah,
and you had the tanks, which like had barnacles and fucking like I don't even know what.
Well, it was all the sea creatures, and because we've seen crabs and shellfish and barnacles,
undead soldiers and shit.
And of course, there's the underwater world of everything upside down.
Yeah.
And...
Dry land is not a myth. Underwater world. So none of this, all of this is so fucked up that this doesn't even peak over the baseline.
Yeah, this feels like something that's almost completely normal at this point.
Yeah, and it's like someone, like the person who actually was presenting it said this is like almost the first real footage we've seen. It feels like a pre-boss battle scene, like you'd see in like Metal Gear or something.
Well, because in the previous trailer that we saw, that we were jokingly calling Walking Simulator, because we weren't quite sure what the game was yet, but that was actual gameplay that we got to see. Now we see this thing that looks like a pre-boss battle kind of situation. We've seen people with weapons, so we're kind of getting more into that range of this is going to be a third-person shooter of some kind with ethereal shit going on and whatnot.
Well, just because they haven't actually shown any combat, I can't really say that it's a walking simulator. Because if you take any particular scene out of Metal Gear 5, like in Afghanistan or in Africa, like there's a lot of open terrain.
Oh no, no, that's what I was.
No, people say it. I'm not saying
it's a joke or whatever. Because obviously there's going to be more than just walking and stubbing your toe in this game. But we've seen weapons. We've seen now something that definitely looks like a boss of some kind. So I feel like this is going to very much fall into that Metal Gear Solid ilk of some kind, just, way more fucked up shit going on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, apparently, there's hints that it's going to be out in 2019. because he's tying it to the actual date in which Akira is set.
Oh, okay.
So he says that,
he is a fan, so
yes,
there would be
so
that.
Katsura Otomo's Akira is apparently takes place in 2019, way back when it was made in fucking early 90s, is it?
Late 80s.
Late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, I think it was like 87 or something like that.
Is that old?
I think so.
I know it was old. Like, it's one of the very first anime
I mean,
I've
if
seen.
inquiring minds must know.
Yeah, like past Robotech, I'm pretty sure that Akira was like one of my formative anime moments.
That was a lot of people's formative anime moments.
Kaneda! All right. Janus Marino help
But
us
either
out there.
way, 1988. There you go. I was 1 year
1988.
off.
So yeah, shocking.
But yeah, ultimately, again, I'm just super stoked for it. I want to know more.
I mean, worst case scenario, it's going to be like visually interesting.
Because you know what was really interesting about this one is that, okay, so Tetsuya. Of course, in the initial trailers, we were like, "What the fuck, baby canister?"
Yeah.
And then in the walking simulator, "What the fuck, he's got a dead body on his back." In this one, we actually see a woman on his back, and she appears to be maybe just knocked out. Like she actually has like
I didn't actually see that part.
when he has like the big backpack thing, and she's in like the snuggy like sleeping bag thing. You actually see her face and everything. So
Think about Norman Reedus. He has tremendous core strength.
Obviously,
so,
yeah.
From hauling bodies around all day.
well, that and he's got like an ammo crate and the baby on him, and he's got that thing on his shoulder that snaps at people and yeah, he's got to be jacked from playing in that
This fucking salad spinner out there. Yeah. So, despite not knowing anything about what the fucking game is, like, Kojima sure as fuck wants to sell you stuff.
Yep.
So,
I'm ready to buy.
yeah, they are not shy about selling you like random merchandise to go with the game. So at TGS, they had a huge booth. Kojima Productions has branded T-shirts, hats, keychains, phone cases, pins, towels, money clips, doormats, and doormats. Yeah, fucking Bridges doormats and regular and chibi-sized figures of the Ludens mascot.
Yep.
The undead astronaut Doctor Who looking motherfucker.
He's like, we don't even know if he's actually in the game, but he's
Probably
literally
not.
just the mascot of Kojima Productions.
It's just he's probably not in the game, but it's just their mascot. Then who the fuck knows? I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Because we've seen the face of the Ludens character, and it is Norman Reedus in a spacesuit, but he's got the actual Ludens like character in that spacesuit. It has a human face with a balaclava, and it's Norman Reedus.
I don't know if you're looking at the same thing I am, because it's always a skull pattern.
Oh no, that's like the physical logo is the skull in the Ludens helmet.
Yeah, but have you seen the actual...
The action figure has a human in it.
We'll go looking at that, but maybe not the ones they're selling, but they look like they had like actual like the skull face. No, sorry,
either that or it has an
face,
interchangeable
maybe.
Interchangeable face.
But not skull face, like skull face, Metal Gear Solid 5 skull face. That's a different skull face. This is how deep we are into the fucking Kojima hole.
You can see skin in his balaclava mask. Like that's and there have been close-up shots of the art of it, and it's Norman Reedus. So
Actually,
that's why I'm wondering if he's actually in the game then.
It's like Norman Reedus playing as Skullface.
There we go.
Yep. Okay, so it still goes back to like what I was saying years ago for Watch Dogs. We don't even know what the game is or if it's any good. Why are we buying shit?
Well, I mean, granted, Watch Dogs was a little more in a single direction.
Yeah.
Like you kind of knew, like they gave you the flavor right away in that first trailer.
Dull.
Well, no. It was exciting at first.
I know.
To be fair,
the character was
this
dull.
one again.
Pierce.
I'm not so much buying it because it's weird and fucked up. I'm buying it because I trust Kojima.
Yeah, granted, I have much more faith in Kojima than I had in Watch Dogs, and everybody knows I'm a Watch Dogs 1 apologist. I did like that game, but to be fair, Aiden Pierce. Awesome character, visually kind of dull in action.
It was kind of like Assassin's Creed 3. Like, good character design, but just kind of a dull character.
It's kind of like if Jim from The Office, if Pam died, and he just goes on a fucking postal rampage, but he's also good at hacking. Anyway, so we got a big check-in on Cyberpunk 2077 stuff.
Oh, do tell. I did not hear anything about this.
Some stuff. So one of the things we were talking about cyberware and if there was a limit on what you could put in.
Yeah, if you could go full zombie with it or not.
Yeah, so in the actual RPG, there's a mechanic called... it's not humanity, it's called empathy.
Oh, empathy. Yeah.
Essence is Shadowrun.
Right, yes. Go on, they're so close. Empathy essence.
FASA doesn't want you to make that connection.
Give me my robot parts.
Yeah. So empathy is a stat. The lower you get in the stat, obviously, the more cold and aloof you are, and the more uncomfortable people are around you. So they're carrying it over, basically the same stat into the game.
Do they have a term like Shadowrun does, where you're cyber zombie? I believe
Cyberpsychosis.
Cyberpsychosis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yet, of course, they have the term because Shadowrun cribbed everything.
Well, I wanted to
allegedly.
I wanted to know what it was. I didn't know if they had a proper term for it.
No,
so.
The more I go into reading up on what they're doing in 2077, I'm going back and reading my source books.
Yeah.
It comes to the realization that there's a lot more that they paid homage to than I really remember. There's a lot. Yeah. So anyway, so if you install too much cyberware, you actually do have mental effects. How that plays out in the game, they haven't said, but there is going to be a form of cyberpsychosis in the game. So there's a hard limit on what you can install, and it'll probably be affected by the quality of the cyberware, much like they do in Shadowrun, because that's the mechanic they have in Shadowrun, and I'm assuming that came from fucking Cyberpunk.
Well, because they've already acknowledged that you can get shitty cyberware and shitty weapons, and you can also get like sweet military grade stuff too.
Exactly.
So it'll be a lot cleaner or something like that, and not affect you as much.
So what I could probably see them doing is also having it affect people's reactions to you and stuff. Like
absolutely.
Your clothes.
You come up in this like really junky back alley looking arms and legs, and you got like glowing red eyes and shit. They're gonna be like, "Oh, what do you want?"
Yep. Wow, what's the guy? What was the fucking guy from Captain Power? He had the one eye.
You mean like the main villain guy, right?
I can't think of his name. It was like something Dread. I don't even know. Lord Dread.
I think it was something really bad like that.
Digitize them.
But he looked like a Borg, basically.
Yeah. Joe Michael Straczynski's lost masterpiece, Captain Power. Anyway, so another thing, senior quest designer Philip Weber, he dropped some more information about the quests, how they're designed, and how your choices have consequences. So he kind of goes more into how those consequences will play out and sort of how they pay off. One of the things we want to do says that every choice is a consequence or can have multiple consequences. So maybe whatever you do in one quest has a consequence in 2 or 3 other quests, which then themselves go even further. But he wanted to make sure the right and wrong choices were not always clear. And
because they had kind of talked about that. They didn't want it to be this cut and dried, the example we always use, the Paragon and Renegade.
Exactly. Yeah. I even wrote that here in the notes. But but he further, and I think this is brilliant, he doesn't even want to present the consequences in the story until maybe several hours later in the game, so that it's too late to save scum.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's like it's not clear, and then as you play out, you slowly get the impressions of, I made this mistake 5 hours ago, and now I am fucked.
And I mean, some of those make perfect sense. You don't want to present all that information up front because it might just be an info dump, and you might miss it, or it just might be boring. And B, it's just they want a very natural flow in their narrative.
Exactly.
So what's going to happen is you're going to, complete a mission or fail a mission or something, or work for somebody. And then, that 5 hours down the road, you're going to go to like another section of town and you're going to try to work for this guy. Be like, no, you fucked us over on that job. And then that's it. Like, you can't do anything about it.
Turns over you screwed over a guy you hadn't even met yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like it locks off a whole other quest line and opens up an entirely different path.
And I love that because there's so many games where you get like 2 endings, like a Paragon Renegade kind of like that type of situation. And you if you're interested enough in the story, you can go back and you can play it, and then you get like 2 experiences out of that. This one, I'm almost not even scared to fail missions because I feel like I'm going to have so many different like experiences with this game that I'm going to want to play it so many times to really just dig into everything it has to give.
You can really take advantage of every play style and get a completely different story if you make different choices.
Yeah, because not only are there all those choices, but there's also the choices of, you can even have a guy a character that is jacked up on tech, or you can go like completely humanoid and stuff like that. Like even just experiences with playing with those 2 different types of characters, I think will be interesting.
Jay Tanuki says, "Good luck to the completionists."
Oh god, yeah.
Mentally, I'm going back to like the Alpha Protocol where there was like something like 14 different endings, and they're like radically different.
This is one of those ones I'm glad again that I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it, but I'm glad I'm not
a
going.
trophy hunter?
Yeah, I'm not going for any platinum trophy on this one.
Yeah. So Weber says, the thing is we want to tell a realistic story, so we'll never know if one of your choices is good or bad. You have to think about what you think is right. Sometimes what you think is right, that's the good thing, yeah. But sometimes, like in real life, it'll be a good thing, you'll have a good consequence for it. But sometimes things can go to the side. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you never know.
Because even in the one experience, like the one example they had in that 48-minute gameplay trailer there, that could have been the right way to do that. Or it could have been the worst way to do that mission. You never know.
Yep. Says, sometimes you have to think about something and you thought it was a good idea. Maybe it comes back later with a big consequence you didn't expect. And now you have to live with it. Because one thing we also like to do is sometimes the consequence comes 5 hours later, just like in real life. And you might not want to just load your save game and go, oh, I'll just redo that choice. You have to live with the consequence, and it's part of your story. And for me, I think that's how we can tell the best story in an adult game. I absolutely agree with that. Like, I'd like to see that more.
There's so many games that could learn from that. And I get it. It's something you really have to bake into your game from day one.
They actually do it a bit in Odyssey, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Oh, really? Okay, well, that's cool. Like, maybe that's a thing that's starting to happen in games now, because agency is important, and people need to kind of experience it. Because it's really unfortunate that there's so many games that either they just give you one option, or they give you the cut and dry, like left and right path. And
it's boring if it's just, okay, I'm always going to pick the blue option on your Mass Effect wheel.
Like even one of my favorite games, Infamous. Like that's one of my most favorite games of all time. It is still one of those binary choices. Are you good or are you bad? That's it.
Pretty much. Even the second one where you can kind of go in both directions, not enough.
Yeah, and quite frankly, it's kind of pointless to do that one because it's really the worst path to take.
It is. All right, and while we're checking in, we're going to check in on Spider-Man, because we were talking about...
What's he doing these days? I heard he's kind of...
Spider-Cop!
He's kind of important.
So, we had expected... The early reports were that Spider-Man was doing very well, and now we know basically exactly how well they were doing. So, we were actually...
just on JT Nuki's note there, too, and I totally agree with it. More promising for developers to remember the importance of demand of single-player experience.
Yes, well, especially for an in-depth experience like this, or like The Witcher. Like that replayability and the big open-world experience, it's your story, right? It feels like not just one you're watching happen.
Yeah, the people are gonna vote with their wallets on this one, and it shows. It shows that we still love proper single-player experiences. It's not just about shooting dudes online in PvP.
You know what else is a really good single-player experience?
What's that?
Spider-Man.
All right, back to Spider-Man.
Yeah, so Saul Spider-Man CPA. So our early reports were actually even less than what it turned out being. So worldwide, Spider-Man sold an incredible 3.3 million copies in the first 3 days.
Yes. So this is like opening weekend, basically.
Right. So better than God of War, which only sold 3.1 million in the first 3 days. So Insomniac Games Chief Brand Officer Ryan Schneider says Marvel Spider-Man could likely become Insomniac's best-selling game. Like, this could be their biggest one ever.
I don't see why not. With numbers like that, I mean, Insomniac's always done great work in the past, but I don't think they ever sold a game like this before. I mean,
Ratchet and Clank was their most successful one, like not the original one, but the remake.
Yeah, the PS4 one.
Right. That was their most successful one up until now. This one is blowing the doors off of that one.
Well, because again, this has brand recognition. It crosses so many bridges and everything like that, whereas Ratchet and Clank was... I love the series, but it's not for everyone.
Right.
Spider-Man is for everyone.
Yeah, and also, unlike some of the previous ones that were done by Activision and that studios and whatnot, and this is critical, it doesn't suck.
Yes, that is the most important part. They made a good Spider-Man game finally.
Yeah, because I mean...
Ever since Spider-Man 2 for PS2 and Xbox...
Shattered Dimensions was decent, but was it... something... The one in time...
That one... I
don't recall the name of it. It was him
Kraken, not
Kraken
Time.
That was the Russian.
No, there was another one like that. But no, Shattered Dimensions was good, but for a very different reason, though.
Well, 4 different worlds.
Well, that's the whole thing, is it had that gimmick of being able to play completely different Spider-Man characters.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Whereas this one is a classic, like, return to form of, this is Spider-Man. You get to swing around New York and, solve crimes in your van with the Scooby-Doo.
Plus a great original story, and like, they nailed nailed the mechanics, and the combat feels great, and the plot is such a part of your combat experience. It's not like a cutscene and then you do action. It's
exactly.
It's so integrated.
It's very free form.
Right.
Like you can go, do a few petty, or like, beat up a few guys with petty crimes, or you can go do a mission, or you can go find all your backpacks that you've forgotten everywhere, and like all kinds of different stuff.
It's really tough for me going to the next actual story mission. If I see a crime in progress, I'm like, I don't have to do this, but it really feels like I want to, right? So it really gets you in the character. I think it's probably the best portrayal of Spider-Man I've seen, aside from like Tom Holland's
in Homecoming. Yeah,
right.
Of course.
So I mean, going back years, like all the way back to the PS1, I think.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, basically
Spider-Man 2 on the PS2.
So that's kind of the way it ranks. Is that I think that this one basically tops all of them now. So you have Spider-Man for PS4, you have Spider-Man 2 the movie game for PS2 and Xbox original, I guess they had it on there.
Would have been, yeah.
And then you had the Activision Spider-Man for PlayStation 1, which was... that one kind of started it for me. I was like, this is a superhero game. This is fucking awesome.
And Enter Electro, basically the same thing.
Yeah. It kind of took the same mechanics and upped it a little bit.
It had a fucking symbiote suit.
It did. They're just saving it for one of the DLC packs, right?
Look,
you have 28 costumes in the initial game, all right? That is way more than any other game has ever had.
Yeah, well, it also has 0 symbiote suits, which is way less than any other Spider-Man.
Do you want to complain about it, or
yes.
do you want to have them pull an Arkham Knight and charge $10 for 6 costumes at the start?
If one of them had the symbiote suit in it, I just might actually.
Really?
That's how they get
it's
you.
It's worth that much too.
We don't have time to bitch about this more. Okay, so
you're equipping 60 Spider-Man in it.
I know. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
PlayStation Now. No longer pointless.
Yes. I was actually quite excited when I read about this.
This is a big thing, right? We've been talking about this for a year, going back to
this was always a misstep by PlayStation because with Xbox...
I wouldn't call it a misstep, but like it doesn't work here.
No, but that's the thing is that initially this is what it should have been from the start, because Xbox had the ability that you had this Gamer Pass, you could go in to this library of games and you can download the game onto your hard drive and you can play it on your system.
Yeah.
PlayStation always had this kind of aloof idea of like, it's a small enough game, you can just play it online or whatever, just over the cloud computing. It's like, no, that there are very specific games that work that way.
Hey, but it does work in Japan. Like, we don't have the infrastructure for it in North America or even in parts of Europe.
But that's the problem. Yeah. They are a worldwide company.
Okay.
If they were only in Japan, then go ahead and do that. That's fine.
They have the Gaikai technology, right? They powered their remote play through Vita on it. They did their whole remote play on the PS4, like the takeover function.
Yeah.
That's all Gaikai technology, which is the driving technology behind PS Now.
Yep.
Problem is, for PS Now as a streaming service, OnLive failed. Was it the Shield? Is it the NVIDIA Shield?
Yeah, the NVIDIA Shield.
Not so great. A lot of those services, they do not work in North America. And Xbox Game
they don't
Pass,
work a lot of places in the world.
basically, right? And even if you're far enough away from a center, right? Like geographically, there's only very select places it works.
Exactly.
So Xbox Game Pass came out. We said, fantastic idea. When is PS Now going to get their shit together? That was a year ago.
Exactly.
So we called it then.
They finally got their shit together.
Well,
to a certain extent anyways.
Well,
so
it's a decent amount, right? You can't play PS3 games.
Yeah.
But you can download PS4 games and the PS2 to PS4.
Yeah, it's the only hitch in it is that you get PS2 and you get PS4. PS3 games are still online only.
And here's the thing, it's actually better than the original version for several reasons. So obviously, compared to PS Now, you're not going to have any input lag, you're not going to have any latency.
Yeah.
But you can play now offline as well. You do have to check in, like you have to be on the internet a couple days.
It's a licensing acknowledgement thing.
Every few days. They haven't said specifically, but probably like once a week, like every 3 or 4 days, whatever.
Yeah.
So it does the check to see if her licenses are still valid.
Oh, Janus Breen, don't say that. That is so true now.
What's that? Oh, Venom? Oh, we don't want to talk about Venom.
No, but he's saying like you'll get your symbiote suit when you go see Venom. Oh, that would be an awful way to do that.
I mean, I would go see Venom if I got something out of it.
You're in that $10 range, basically. You're only getting one costume out of it, though.
I would go in like to the Cineplex, and I would get my ticket, and I would sit down, and I would get my code, and then I just go back and this movie's horrible. I demand my $20 back.
But I got my suit.
Yes, just pocket that now. So anyway, you can also use DLC on the downloaded PS Now games because PS Now you had no access to add-ons.
Yeah,
at all.
exactly.
So, and now with PS Plus membership, you can actually download, if you'd previously streamed games, you can download your saves to your cloud save.
Yeah.
And then from there...
Yeah, because those were all still saved from everything you did.
Just on the cloud server.
Yeah.
So now you can transfer it over to your PS Plus cloud, and then you can, from there, download it to your home system. So you can have a local copy. It's weird that you have to do that. I'm sure they'll fix it. But you don't need PS Plus membership to play online with PS Now games. So it, on its own, acts as that PS Plus membership for those games.
Oh, so you can literally just own PS Now if you want.
For those games.
For
PS Now.
for those ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't, you're not going to be playing something that's not on PS Now that way. But anyway, it's great. Like, it definitely makes me more interested in PS Now as a service. It's still a little pricey. It's like $100 a year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the reason it doesn't really blow my skirt up is because
you have a collection.
I have most of those games already, right? Like a Bloodborne and whatnot.
Whereas, honestly, somebody like me,
yeah,
if I was, needing a retro fix and stuff like that, most of my stuff is digital now, so I don't have a lot of those games that I used to play.
And then they could do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
When you first buy a PS4, here's a free month of PS Now, download these games, play them.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
And you get a lot more games.
Oh, there you go. And J Tanuki found some stuff on your symbiote suit, which is kind of what I thought for ever since I found out it wasn't in there.
They've talked about it. I won't talk about why there is a tie-in to the existing game because it's something that occurs.
Their story. Don't worry about
it. But they've already sort of laid the groundwork for what their version of it won't be Venom, because I don't know how the rights are set up now for this. It may be Venom.
It's tricky because of licensing.
Yeah, it might be Venom, but it's not going to be the traditional Eddie Brock Venom.
Yeah,
because in some of the rebooted universes, it was a different story.
Oh, they've had multiple different Venoms, so yeah.
So instead of it being the Secret Wars, it's going to be like the guy from space.
Well, honestly,
J. Jonah Jameson's son.
What I would like to see
time.
is that if they're not going to save it for like a full-blown second game storyline kind of thing, I would love to see a 4-hour DLC storyline that is all about symbiotes, and you could have like multiple symbiote costumes that you could have with that.
Just give me the fucking suit. Look at the Spider-Man 2099 in there. I don't need that shit.
You have 28 other costumes. You're telling me that there's not a single other one that takes the place of the symbiote suit?
I mean, the actual the sort of cel-shaded 1970s.
I told you
one,
the vintage one is
neat.
Awesome.
But again, I live and die by the symbiote suit all the way back to the original PS1 game. So good news for you specifically.
Yep.
PlayStation. Sony has registered a patent for a mechanism for VR to combat motion sickness.
Ooh, what does it do? Does it massage my stomach or something? Or
no, it's
yeah.
So they patented a system. They filed the patent last year. It takes 6 months, or actually it might be earlier this year. But it's like they only published it last week.
Okay.
So it describes a head-mounted display that's fitted with a range of biometric sensors, a thermometer, eye tracking cameras, a moisture sensor, and exterior orientation sensors.
Okay.
So it's apparently not only going to minimize motion sickness, but it will warn you if you are having symptoms that you are like having too much stress or you're sweating too much.
Okay.
Or like if you're like dizzy and you're gonna fall down and shit.
So are they sensors that tell me I'm getting sick, or is it trying to alleviate them?
It's actually both.
Okay.
Both. So it also, like the eye tracking also will allow for something called foveated rendering, which only renders in detail the things that you're directly looking at.
Oh, okay.
So it will reduce actual the processing
Yeah, because one of the
power.
important part is the clarity of what you're looking at.
Right. Here's the other thing. Headset apparently is listed as having a battery in it, which points to the possibility of it being a wireless unit.
I like that.
the new HTC Vive 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, it'll likely incorporate the brand new displays we talked about from
of course.
Japan Display. They have the ridiculous high resolution. So this is all points to the possibility of a PSVR 2 sometime in the next year or two with probably with the PS5.
Yeah.
Which would be amazing, especially if it helps people like you can't really do it for long periods of time.
Yeah, exactly. Just anything that could assist in me playing a game for, instead of 10 minutes for 40 minutes, maybe 50 minutes. That would be nice.
Any amount of time of Wipeout.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that would be glorious because holy shit, I would be playing that constantly.
I get motion sickness watching the fucking screen playing Wipeout. It's just so much. And speaking of Wipeout, not to be outdone by the rash of tiny miniaturized consoles, Sony's announced that there is the mini classic PlayStation.
Yes.
Coming for $100 US by the end of this year. December 3rd, it's going to be out. Low price.
And we have 5 confirmed games so far.
5 confirmed games out of 20 that are going to be bundled.
Yeah.
We get Jumping Flash, which is an underrated game, launch game. It's a little cutesy, but underrated.
One of the first person shooter-esque games for PlayStation ever.
You're in a giant robot rabbit.
Yeah, it's a robot mech.
I'm not judging. Anyway, Ridge Racer Type 4, Tekken 3, Wild Arms, fantastic game. Most people need to play that game because everyone kind of put Wild Arms to the side to play Final Fantasy VII, which is also on there. So now you can play both of them. But Wild Arms is a hidden gem. Everyone should play the original Wild Arms.
Yep.
You'll watch the intro. It will captivate you. You will play the JRPG game.
Yeah. And I think the only thing that bugs me about that is I feel like it should be about $80 instead of $100. Like, it seems a bit pricey.
Comes with 2 controllers.
Okay, now that's fair. Now, all the other Nintendo systems, they all came with 2 controllers too.
But
now, granted, they had short cords on them, but
I mean, granted, they're not like analog DualShock controllers. They are just the old.
They're the classic PlayStation controllers, which really aren't much more tech than a Super Nintendo controller. So
they're comfortable.
Now that's because that's $100 American.
Yes,
I feel like that's
$120 Canadian, roughly.
120, 130. Now that's if you get it firsthand. So you get that. You can almost buy a 3DS or half of a fucking brand new system for that.
Yeah, but you can't play Jumping Flash. I mean, the fact that it's got Final Fantasy VII on it, it's got Wild Arms on it, those are big games.
That is going to be the deciding factor for someone like me.
Yeah.
I need to see what those other 15 games are, really.
Okay, so if
I'm going to put down $120 for it.
One of the things that is bad about it's not going to come with an AC adapter. Like the Mini NES is going to have just a USB power.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of not great. It's going to have 2 PS1 controllers.
That's functional.
And an HDMI cable. So if you had to sort of brainstorm, what would be your PS1 asks? Your original classic PS1 games.
Oh shit, I don't know.
Twisted Metal?
Twisted Metal 2 specifically, because that was my favorite one.
That was better, yeah.
Yeah, CJ2.
Twisted Metal,
Metal. Twisted Metal 2 was my favorite. I feel like it really revolutionized the series. Twisted Metal 1 was kind of like their first jump into it. Twisted Metal 2 really made it good.
It was good, but Twisted Metal 2 is far superior.
Yeah, Twisted Metal 2 would be great. That would definitely add value to it.
Wipeout?
Oh, yeah. Any of the Wipeout games,
Wipeout
basically,
XL,
would be great.
Warhawk. I want to see original Warhawk.
See, Warhawk, I think, is...
Oh, man.
It's a bit of a relic at this point.
Come on, Warhawk. It's fantastic. As the CGI intros. Actually, pardon me, the FMV intros. Even better. Battle Arena to Shinden. That's a classic one.
JJ says Spyro Crash Bandicoot, even though that'd be redundant at this point.
I said Crash Bandicoot. Another one I have is Medieval.
Even though, again, we're getting a remaster of that one, too. So that would be fair. You know what? Honestly, we're
getting a remaster of Final Fantasy VII, too.
But that's going to be another 10 years.
Who the fuck knows?
One of my favorite, and it would just be a really weird ask, but I really liked Wild 9 by Shiny.
Oh, yeah. Good
Earthworm Jim guys.
Decent.
Yeah.
What about Blasto?
Blasto would be great. That was that was an original, that was, played a lot of that
Phil
one.
Hartman. Blasto.
God, I'm trying to think of really Tobal #1.
Oh, dude, why am I thinking about this? It's got to be Crash Team Racing.
Oh yeah, see there we go.
Fucking A.
If we're not getting a remaster of that, give us the original on the PlayStation Mini.
Because what you're saying, like Crash, like obviously we had the trilogy just came out and that did fantastically. It looks great. Crash Team Racing, man.
Yep. Because I don't think we're getting a remaster of that anytime soon. So yeah, give us the original because it was a truly great game.
Super classic. So get this: some asshole went out on Twitter and tweeted at Philips, "When are we gonna get a classic Philips CDI Mini?"
No.
And it's like,
don't poke the bear.
Really? And you know what? Philips said, "You know what? We'll try our best, but no promises."
Oh my god. They would never do it.
They absolutely
It would cost
wouldn't.
too much money. There'd be licensing issues. Their games sucked. I mean, there's so many.
Come on.
Like,
was it the Adventures of Link? I don't even remember what the shitty CDI subtitle was.
Oh my God, Wand of Gamelon,
I don't even know.
There was 3 Zelda games because I
Yeah.
watched the Game Grumps play 2 of them.
Oof.
There was Wand of Gamelon. There was I can't remember what the second was, and the third one was actually like more of a top-down classic like Zelda style game.
Yep.
But it was the worst in the series. I think it only came out in Europe, and when the Grumps bought it, it's super rare. Like he had to spend like $350 to buy it or something like that, and it's just it's terrible.
Yeah.
Just fucking terrible.
So James Marine said Battle Arena to Shinden, which was kind of actually with Tekken. I doubt that's going to be in there because that was an early one, and Battle Arena to Shinden. Obviously, there was not many sequels.
I could definitely see Gran Turismo.
Gran
being on
Turismo,
there.
that's a good answer.
That was a huge hit.
You know what? Like Bloody Roar might be a good one.
I just want them to make a new Bloody Roar game.
I would
honestly.
love to see that too.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
Oddworld, maybe we've had a couple remasters of that
Yeah,
now, but
probably not.
It's possible. That was a very big hit for that.
I'm thinking classic PlayStation games.
Metal Gear Solid 1. That was like one of my first huge like games on that system.
That's a good answer.
That was my mind-blowing experience. Yep. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid 1 would be a good grab on that one.
I'd have to go over and have a look at the library, but yeah, Metal Gear would be a big get for that. Like that alone, that plus Final Fantasy, you're gonna spend $100 to have that. And
and that's the thing. If you have those blockbuster hits that made the PlayStation what it was, that's when you get the $100 asking fee.
Jake Tanuki says
Parappa the Rapper. Sure,
they literally just remastered that. I think this year.
But I could see them putting it on there.
I don't think so. But I mean,
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill would be Parasite Eve. Yeah, that would be. Oh
jeez, yeah, because we're never gonna get a fucking remaster of that, so you might as well put it on there.
That's unfortunate.
It really is. There's so many people that want that game.
All right, so no to the Philips CDI. Okay, we got some Red Dead Redemption details, and then we gotta get to it. We have a shitload of stuff. So
no worries.
Red Dead Redemption only 4 weeks away.
Yep. Can you contain yourself yet?
Man, we might be getting a review copy early.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
You might not be talking to me for a couple weeks.
As long as I can sit behind your couch and watch you play, that's all that matters.
No promises. So there's a huge info dump from Danny O'Dwyer went hands-on with it.
One more.
Tony Hawk. That's a good one.
Any of the Tony Hawk games, honestly.
That's true. He says, Danny O'Dwyer, of course, no clip. He does his documentaries now. He formerly of GameSpot. Shooting is very similar to RDR and GTA 5. Feels familiar. It feels good. He says the physics are fucking nuts. He shot
like
a horse.
Nuts?
No, he shot a horse and it crushed the rider's leg and pinned him. Had a horse fall off a cliff and onto another rider. Knocked a random dude over into the mud by accident walking by him. So just like pinwheeled and down. He says the interiors of RDR2 are likely the most detailed interiors he's ever seen in an open-world game. The world feels less like a bunch of plates to spin and more like a complex world where you have a part but are not the center. So it's like everything's going on around you and you're just a part of an overall bigger world.
Yeah.
So he says, this is the best description. The Witcher 3 wasn't a leap. It was just a fantastic execution of a lot of the rules developers had learned, especially storytelling. The weird, systemic, emergent storytelling I witnessed in my demo is something I'd never seen a game do, not even RPGs. It's different. It feels like it's doing to narrative and emergent storytelling what GTA 3 did for believable cities. It feels very interactive, far more than previous Rockstar games. You can search through drawers, knock on doors or beat them down. You can hide bodies.
Yeah.
Talk to every NPC. Go into possibly every building.
Ooh.
And I mean, the cities aren't that big.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, they have that functionality because it's the West. Like, there wasn't big, sprawling cities, but still, that's big.
It says the variety of personalities is impressive. Some folks are skittish, some are brash and tell you to go away. Others are super boring, which feels fun. I had folks ignore me. Others tell me sob stories. It's less a structured way of having emergent moments come from the world. Some felt deep and engaging, while others were boring like real life. I also had a more scripted feeling encounter with a beggar I talked to. Kind of feels like an adventure could come from anywhere. Basically, the way it's executed, the whole game makes a mockery of the term quest or side quest or activity. It's all just part of the same
thing. It just blends it all together.
Right. Exactly. Art director of RDR2, Josh Bass, he says he wanted to move beyond the classic desert landscapes of the original game and introduce a larger cross-section of America. More advanced technology meant that it was possible to create the kind of diverse environments we were looking for, with thick mud, huge mountains, and deep, powdery snow, dark, foggy swamps, and heavily forested areas, as well as wide, grassy plains. So RDR2 features the series' first real city, the industrializing port town of Saint Denis, or Dennis, if you're American.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be Saint Denis.
Saint Denis.
Yes, much like Pierre is pronounced Peary in North Dakota, or Houston is Housen in New York. Doesn't matter. St. Denis will feel like a stark contrast to the outposts and towns across the rest of the world. So they also announced some details about Red Dead, their online service. It's called Red Dead Online, kind of like GTA Online.
As expected.
Yeah, it's going to be very similar to the original online free roam mode. And how it was basically the prototype of like GTA Online, so it's the natural evolution of that service.
Right.
So you're probably going to see like continuously added stuff and equipment, new like probably clothing, new horses.
You'll have a garage full of horses,
right? You know, and so that'll keep adding on, and it'll be a continuous sort of microtransaction driven environment. But we don't have to spend real money on it. GTA Online on the scale would be all the way here on the left.
It'd be right near the bottom. It's like technically, it is kind of egregious because there is that grindy, but you don't need to spend any money. Right. Like you can get everything in the game by playing.
I earned millions and millions of dollars in that game just playing the game.
Exactly.
I didn't have to grind.
And the nice part too is typically every time they fucked up the servers or they were down for service or whatever, they would just give you free money. Just
couple million. Here you go. It happened more than once on both versions of the game I played.
Yeah.
So not the fuck ups. They just give you money. So anyway, so they say they will blend narrative, competitive, and cooperative gameplay. It will be free for players who own Red Dead Redemption 2. There's going to be an online public beta in November. And of course, they say, when launching online games at this scale, there are bound to be a few issues. We want to ensure everyone has the time to gradually roll the game out and make the experience as smooth and as they possibly can for everyone. We got some quick hits.
All right, do it.
It's a thick fucking news schedule. I was going to say, that's a lot of quick hits. It's been a lot of news. Like, the last week has been insane for news.
Well, we're coming into that cycle again. It's fall, and we're getting some big games.
But we're talking about fourth quarter now. Fortnite Season 6 starts the 27th. Meteors, Rifts, Cubes. We don't know what's going to happen next. Who the fuck knows?
All the crazy shit.
Yep. COD Blops 4 is not content with pandering to Battle Royale fans. They're going to really lean into it by saying their map is going to evolve as well, just like Fortnite's does.
Oh, I thought you meant like...
Nope.
Like, no, it's literally going to be one of those things where they're going to have meteors crashing and the map will change all the time.
You never know. A satellite, who the fuck knows? COD Blops 4.
Whatever marketing tells them to do, they're going to do it.
Yep. We have a lot of plans in place for how we're going to change that map over time, how we're going to expand the map over time, and add new locations and maybe even new teaming. So I think that's a lot to do with the core map experience that we'll have at launch. That's the first time I've ever heard the term core map experience and felt greasy.
Well, I mean, when you have to focus on one map and one map only, it is the core map experience.
It is the core map experience. I feel cored out from the asshole up. Okay, so the one thing they didn't copy was their netcode, because apparently in the beta, the COD Blops 4 Blackout beta ran at a scant 10 hertz, which is 10 ticks per second, as compared to PUBG at 17 and Fortnite at a blistering 30. Mm-hmm. So for 100 people or less than 100, 10 hertz is shitty. That's how you like get shot and you die around a corner. Yeah, and
they're going to have to up that. I'm sure it was just because it was beta and whatnot. Because the trick to that too is COD Blops, for all the shit we give it and everything like that, it's still a gorgeous looking game. Forkknife looks like a fucking Pixar movie, so it's way easier to make that run.
Bethesda announced the name of the map for Fallout 76. It's going to be called Appalachia. So the Capital Wasteland for 3, and now the Commonwealth in New Vegas. Yeah. Or was that... Commonwealth was 4. Commonwealth was 4. Yeah, that was New 4. Vegas was, I think, just called New Vegas. But anyway, I miss New Vegas. So it's Appalachia based on the mountain range, which, of course, runs through West Virginia. Like the song.
Just like the song.
I've had that fucking song going through my head for months.
Everyone has. No matter if they were happy or sad about Fallout, it was in there.
Yep. Tomorrow is the anniversary of Outbreak Day, September 26, 2013, which is the day the cordyceps virus killed everyone in The Last of Us.
Yep.
in the game.
And to celebrate,
So Naughty Dog is tweeting they're going to be celebrating with new merchandise, content, promotions, and more. So tomorrow we might hear some new Last of Us 2 stuff.
I almost guarantee it. We're getting like a trailer or something real tasty, and then a bunch of merchandise to go with it.
As long as I hear some more of Gustavo Santaolallos's lovely music, every time I hear him play, it just fucking chills.
Yeah.
THQ Nordic has gobbled up yet another IP.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah.
I love what they're doing.
Well, I mean, they keep getting more and more awesome every day. So last week we talked about, or the week before last, it was the Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yep.
They've just gobbled
and
up
Darksiders information and whatnot.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've just gobbled up Active War. Do you remember Active War?
Active War.
It was an RTS game that apparently no one has ever heard of.
No. Was it like on PS2 or something, or PC?
PC only, I think. I vaguely remember it, but they liked it enough they bought it. But more importantly, they bought up the seminal survival horror experience. They now own Alone in the Dark.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which of course we haven't seen since the PS3 one.
Yeah.
Was kind of
janky at best.
Not a great ending. The whole trench coat thing was kind of nifty.
That was basically the only part that was cool about it.
It was pretty cool.
It had a really janky driving sequence in it, and
the fact that it didn't pause when you opened your coat, less good.
Hey, you know what? I'm a fan of the Souls series, and you can pause on that all you want. It doesn't stop the action.
Yeah. Anyway, surprising no one, the Korean ratings board has leaked that PUBG has been classified for PS4.
Go figure.
So roughly around the time the exclusivity contract is up.
Called it. I mean, it was only a matter of time.
Surprising no one. What will be a surprise?
What will be a surprise is if it's done when it hits PS4.
Well, it won't ever be done.
Give me a rim shot on that one. Do it. Thank you.
You whore! Play the sound, you whore! Anyway, so what will be a surprise, the ESRB has announced they've just classified, wait for it,
Yep.
Castlevania Requiem, Symphony of the Night, and Rondo of Blood for PS4.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, yes. And it's going to be a collection with both games.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to come out, but I hadn't heard anything about this. I don't know what they're doing to them, but I'm getting Castlevania.
I'm still waiting on Bloodstained, so I hope it comes out soon and I can play that until Bloodstained comes out.
Well, I mean, short of dusting off my 3DS, I wasn't going to play Rondo of Blood anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's actually just a DS game. I think that goes all the way back.
Oh, all the way back. Yeah, that was one of my favorites, actually. Yeah.
And of course, Symphony of Night. Everybody loves Symphony of Night.
Tanuki late with another Clock Tower
oh,
on the PS1 Mini.
Scissor Man! Fucking rights! Clock Tower is awesome. Atlas for the win.
Oh,
shit. Original Persona, maybe.
Oh,
That'd be a good one, too.
Yeah. They got a lot of choices. There was solid library on PlayStation 1.
So, yeah, here's the other thing. Speaking of libraries, we have a stack of new announcements / old ports that are amazing.
There's one I want to see if you have one there, because it's pretty exciting, so let's see.
It might be this one right here, because I know the one you love. Mark of the Ninja Remastered, coming to Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Oh, yes!
October the 9th. I saw that, and I'm like, Dandr0id's going to flip his shit.
So good, because I can't game on my computer right now, so I'm just going to buy it on PS4.
There you go, Mark of the Ninja Remastered. That was the one you had recommended years ago.
I will continue to recommend it to anyone that wants. That is one of the best experiences of stealth gameplay in a game outside of Metal Gear Solid.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, for other Atlas Weird fans or NIS fans, Catherine Full Body, which is a weird-ass game.
Very strange game.
Yep, Catherine Full Body is coming west to PS4 in 2019. Will include full English and Japanese audio. So you can, if you like your waifus to speak to you in Japanese... You will be...
Oh, and as far as I understood, the voice acting was kind of hokey in that one, too. So it's one of those things. It's like, do you want to listen to the Japanese track or not?
Typically, the Japanese audio track is usually better, but you never know.
We've gotten better.
Speaking of excellent audio tracks, Capcom is porting Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney
there it is.
to PS4.
Not just Ace Attorney, the trilogy.
The trilogy, yeah. PS4, Xbox One, Steam, and Switch. It's going to be called Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. We'll have the first 3 games, and it's going to release early next year. I'm a huge Phoenix Wright fan.
That is beautiful. Yeah. When I read that the other day, I almost cried, because it's this is what we needed. We need Ace Attorney on more, just platforms, because people need to play this fucking game. Because that's the whole thing, is if you didn't have a DS or a 3DS, that was it. You didn't play a fucking Ace Attorney game, and people missed out, because they are gorgeous, and funny and awesome games. I love them.
Maybe I can hold out hope that they'll do like Hotel Dusk on the Switch or the sequel.
Yeah,
because I love that game too.
That was a good one too.
Hotel Dusk. Okay, early 2019, I'll be buying this shit out of that as well. Classic PC adventure game Beneath a Steel Sky from years ago is getting a sequel.
Really?
It's already in development. There was a Reddit AMA with Revolution Software's Charles Cecil. He said that Beneath a Steel Sky Beneath a Steel Sky 2 is already in development. No release date. It was originally published in 1994.
Wow.
Finally getting a sequel. That was a great adventure game, a classic. I hope they remaster the original, but unfortunately they don't have any of the original assets archived, so porting that...
Oh boy, that'll be entertaining.
might be a bit of a ground-up affair or a form of emulation.
Yeah.
But if they can do it, so much the better. I think it's on GOG. I think you can still get it on GOG. But yeah, the original was a classic. Love it. So there's only 3 days left in the Horizon Zero Dawn board game Kickstarter.
Yeah. Obviously, they've blown away their goal.
Oh, yeah. They're up to, as of today, almost $1.9 million Canadian. I think it's roughly $1 million in euros. Maybe a bit more. I don't know how the conversion works, but they now have an all-in pledge. So if you want to buy in, you can get it at a savings.
Yeah.
They've unlocked now the Behemoth.
Oh God.
Oh yes, it is a big hunk of plastic. And they've also have the Tramplers. They have now the destroyers, like the big destroyers, and the corruptors as well in their own module.
That's intense.
Yes, so I basically all the machines now are available, including Aloy on a corrupted Strider.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they unlocked that as part of their
that's fucking cool.
Their social campaign.
Do they have the long necks or whatever? Or
no, those would be like they'd be like that fucking tall.
I was interested if that was like a mechanic of the game or if that's just they just kind of swept them aside because
you never fight them in the game, and the game is all about hunting the creatures. So the long necks, if anything, were more terrain.
They were a set piece.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the sequel you fight one. I don't know. Last but absolutely not least, customers who pre-order Ace Combat 7 will receive a special bonus. Xbox One owners will get a copy of Ace Combat 6 Fires of Liberation. PlayStation 4 owners will get a copy of Ace Combat 5, The Unsung War. So it's basically paving the way for the PS2 to PS4 ports that I've been asking for fucking years.
Well, they finally listened.
Yep. And I immediately tweeted to Steve, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And we both like.
Well, and I mean, honestly,
around.
you were gonna do it one way or the other. You were gonna get your flight stick and everything. So this is that's just icing on the cake. There.
Goddamn right.
That's good stuff. I'm glad that they have that.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do to it. If they do the minimum of porting, just make it PS2 to PS4, it'll be high res.
It'll still be awesome.
Yeah, I want to play Ace Combat so bad, like the original ones. But yeah, Ace Combat 7, I can't wait for that. It's going to be out, I believe, January, if I'm not mistaken, the 19th.
Quick question. Have they confirmed if we get full VR on that yet, or if it's literally just going to be select missions?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the whole game. I don't know if they've really gone into the specific details. I have to do more research on that, but I don't think they've confirmed exactly what it is. You do get a number of VR missions, but
it's not just the one. Like...
no. But I don't think it's the whole game.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it would be really hard to do the whole game in VR.
We are running a little bit behind. The big ticket today will, of course, be
we can rush through the options menu after too.
We will. We will have to. The options, the big ticket today is, of course, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We've gone hands-on with it. I say we, but I mean me. I have gone hands-on with it. Dandr0id's been out of town.
Yeah.
I can talk about certain aspects of the mechanics of the game. I can't give a qualitative assessment.
Well, tell us everything that you can, because this has been a huge point of interest for a lot of people. It's definitely a departure from the typical Assassin's Creed game. So
mechanically, a game plays very similarly to Assassin's Creed Origins did.
Okay.
So it's very much the same engine anyway. A lot of the set pieces...
Makes sense. It's the most modern one.
Yep. But it takes place in, of course, more northerly. We're more in Greece, in the Persian and Grecian areas. So a lot of the Aegean Sea you get. The map is significantly larger than Origins, but it is a lot of water.
Okay.
The game feels gigantic.
Yeah.
And it is like a huge swath of countryside.
But does it still feel like a meaty map, even though a lot of it's water?
Oh no, it does not feel empty at all.
Okay.
Like there's always ships, and because it is set in the middle of the Peloponnesian War, you'll often run into skirmishes between Spartan and Athenian ships.
Okay.
So out in the ocean, and it's not even the ocean, out on the sea, right? There'll always be things to do. And there's all kinds of different, there's sort of like the Radiant quests you get in the game. There's those that happen on a daily basis and a weekly basis. So you get your dailies and weeklies and your in-game currency. And of course, they fucking microtransaction that.
Of course.
It is what it is. It's just like Origins in terms of what you can expect for the store and microtransactions.
Yeah.
Now, the game itself, the way the quests are structured, there is an impact in the plot based on your choices. So there is a significant difference between various endings based on choices you make over the course of the game.
So we can boil it down to there is a lot more agency in this one compared to a lot of the other Assassin's Creed games.
I look forward to being able to speak about it more openly.
Because I'm sure you have examples of not only how these choices work, but how the impacts fell and everything.
Very early in the game, there will be a side mission you do that has I won't say huge impact on the overall plot, but it's a significant thing that you get a sense early that this choice made kind of frivolously, like this is a side quest.
Yeah.
It will have a story impact that will actually be referenced by characters as the plot goes on. So it's like you get a sense that this is a big interconnected world. It's not just you do this quest over here and then you do this quest. You're not checking boxes.
Yeah.
So I think that I can't say that. Okay.
Yep. Choose your words wisely.
Yeah. I can't say that either. It's more sophisticated, we'll say. Anyway, mechanically, you'll notice immediately your character, his looks, unlike Origins, where you had like a costume and you would have pieces of armor that had no cosmetic effect.
Yeah.
They've done away with that costume aspect, and the pieces of armor you have are physically represented on your character.
Oh, okay.
So you see, like, your helmet, your gauntlets.
You change any piece of armor, and it physically changes on your character.
Correct. And there are a lot...
Good. I'm a stickler for that stuff.
Yeah. No, it looks great, and Albel was looking at it earlier, and he said, wow, your guy looks fantastic. Yeah, is this kind of armor, blah, blah. And I changed out some things just to show him some of the different things. There's like the traditional Persian helmet with like the faceplate molded.
Yeah.
It looks like basically like all the things you'd see in the 300 or like a Ray Harryhausen thing. Like it all looks very authentic to the world. There's a substantial amount of detail in the environment. The environment feels very real.
Going back to the armor for a second.
Yes.
Do you kind of have the choice, like in a Souls game, where if you wear less armor, you're more mobile, but you also die easier? Or are you always kind of forced to wear a good amount of armor?
You're not forced to wear any armor, but there is no gameplay impact to wearing different types of armor. Like when I say your movement is not affected unless...
So if you strip down, you're not like extra fast or you jump farther or anything like that.
So now that said, like Origins, there are different gear rarities. And the way it works in this game is that from your normal to rare to epic to legendary, as you go through those tiers, you will have more modifiers, like bonuses.
Okay.
So, and each one, when they roll it, will come up randomly. So you will get multiple variations of the same type of gear that might have 3 different bonuses on it.
Yeah.
What they've done that's interesting is that you can pick and choose those, right? And you can level them up like you could in Origins. So if you have a piece of gear that you like that has a good set of bonuses, you can just keep paying to have that brought up to your current level.
Yeah.
So it's always like gives enough armor, gives enough damage, so that it's always useful.
So you like if you really like a piece, you can carry it the whole way through the game. It isn't just like, oh, this one looked really cool, but I found this one and it just completely puts the other one to shame. Like
now that said, the further you get in the game and the more rare the equipment that you get, the bonuses that you get, they actually have you'll see that they'll have like a symbol for what the bonus is, and they'll have like 4 or 5 dots next to it, which indicates sort of what multiple of that bonus is applied.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like a bonus might go from like 2 to 10% additional damage for a headshot or for a particular type of attack, or etc. So in addition to those that are rolled randomly on the equipment, there is a final slot that is customizable. You get things called engravings, and you get, as you level up, you'll get engravings, and as you do particular tasks for each engraving, those engravings will become more and more powerful. So say, for example, the headshot one, as you kill enemies with the bow, as you get headshots, for example, you might have to do 50 or 100 kills, and then that becomes level 2 or level 3. And each different engraving has a different power-up ability like that.
Oh, okay.
So through your gameplay style, you will get the bonuses or the modifiers that you will tend to use anyway.
Just like they had mentioned at E3, it really allows you to play the way that you want to. So if you are a distance damage dealer, or you like to get in close in melee and stuff like that, you can really customize your play style. Now,
each piece of equipment may not accept every engraving type.
Okay.
But you can largely find something that will support a particular type of gameplay. So you can put one on your weapon and then one on each piece of equipment that you have. And I think there's 5 different slots. There's head, arms, legs, chest, and...
belt or something, or hand, ring. I don't know.
Might be 4. I don't know. There's the armor, the head.
Do you have like shoulders and forearms?
You don't have shoulders. Shoulders, head, chest, arms, feet.
Well,
no, shoulders. I said shoulders because you said it. I think there might only be 4. But anyway, whatever it is. No, there has to be 5 because I remember now that the snake set has 5 pieces.
Well, it's your ass then.
I can't think of it anyway, but there's 5 pieces of armor, each one individually, and so anyway, you can customize these things, and as you get, if you want to then change the engraving, you can go back to a blacksmith and it just pay an additional fee, and you can overwrite that bonus with a different one.
Oh, okay.
So the ones that are random are permanent, but this last one you can always change, and as you get more and more powerful ones...
That's cool.
That's my go-to-bed alarm. As you get further and further in the game, your engravings will power up. You can naturally continuously upgrade them or change them if you have a specific mission involved that maybe needs a different type of thing. So all of your equipment plus your weapon.
Yeah.
And you can carry up to 2 weapons. As you advance in the game, you'll be able to have like 2 main weapons. Again, you'll have your bow like you had in Origins. You'll have multiple different arrow types, though. So you'll have like flaming arrows, poison arrows. You will have a death arrow that is like just a bigger, heavier, more damaging arrow.
Okay.
And there's a couple
Dragon Slayer arrow.
Yeah. And there's a couple more that I have not yet unlocked. One of the interesting things is the legendary equipment. Every time you get a gold legendary item, they have a unique engraving for that item.
Okay.
So if you have a weapon, each one has its own engraving that then unlocks immediately. They can put on any weapon.
Oh, geez.
The sets of equipment,
yeah,
when you have 5 to unlock, once you have all 5 and you wear them,
you get a bonus.
You get that engraving that you can put on any piece of equipment.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So as you're getting stuff, like collecting sets of random legendaries actually is worthwhile.
Yeah.
Just so you want to get everything.
Because that's the whole thing is, like, the way you started talking about this, it was giving me these, nightmarish reminders of Darksiders 2, where it was just a giant loot fest, and you were constantly swapping out
Borderlands,
right? Or Borderlands, like you were just constantly swapping out your armor and your weapons, and like, do I even bother wasting any money upgrading this? Because I'll probably just find something in the next dungeon and stuff. And I mean, this one sounds like it's kind of, once you've found something, especially if it's like a legendary set or whatever, you've got it. You know that you can upgrade that with confidence.
Yeah. Now that I am to the point where I have a bunch of legendaries, I typically just use those and keep upgrading them. And I don't even look at like blue or purple equipment anymore.
Okay. And do you find that you're finding these on a regular basis rather than it being like a World of Warcraft RNG of like, oh, well, I've got to grind this 40 times because it's got a 0.02% of dropping a legendary helmet or something like that?
Typically, you're finding more blues and purples, but there's specific enemies that will drop legendaries, or like unique enemies that will drop legendaries. Part of that is the mercenary system. As you have like your like GTA style star, as you get more and more infamous in the area, and you're basically how much you've pissed off whatever power happens to be in control in the area, either the Athenians or the Spartans, you will get this meter that will essentially, as you pass each level, send an additional mercenary after you. And you, as a mercenary, are actually in this long string of mercenaries. It's almost like the Nemesis system from Shadow of War, or Shadow of Mordor. Mordor or War, probably the first one.
Mordor,
yeah, like Batawang. Anyway, so each mercenary has like a strength and a weakness, and it tells you what equipment he has that he drops as loot if you kill him.
Okay.
So you'll see his level. Some of them come with like tamed animals. Some have bows that they prefer. Some have swords or spears. Like each one's unique. They have a name. They have an outfit. He looks different. You know, they feel different. They have a different write-up.
It's a named character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as you get more and more powerful, as you defeat these mercenaries, you gain tiers in this ranking system. And so essentially, the more powerful you are, the higher level mercenaries that will hunt you as you become more infamous.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll get up to 5 mercenaries potentially scouring the countryside looking for you. Now, here's the thing. Interesting story is you piss off a particular power, there'll be a guy who puts this bounty out, which is why all these mercenaries are hunting you.
Yeah.
You kill that guy, your wanted meter goes to 0 because there's no one left to pay your bounty.
Right, and that makes perfect sense.
So it pops up on your map. Here's the guy, and of course he's probably like surrounded by a bunch of like fucking scrubs.
Genius for me says this is so sad when they revealed the warder actually meant ward the door.
Ward the door, no. Anyway, bum bum. So the mercenary system is in place. These feel like people, and you get like a horn, like a when they're in the area, and depending on what level they are, like 1 or 2 levels above you is a tough fight.
They'll wreck your shit.
Yeah. If you get like a 5 level gap, like you want to like hide in a ditch.
That's the World of Warcraft that has the skull and crossbones above it, and they're like, nope, I'm not dealing with it.
But even guys that are Jesus Christ, even guys,
shut your phone off.
Yeah, even guys that are I don't even know why this is still going on. There we go. Even guys that are equivalent to your level, or even a level below, if you get really screwed and you're attracting a lot of attention and a couple of mercenaries engage you at once, it's a serious fight. You are fucked. You get bounced back and forth, and because it is like, it's not the old school Assassin's Creed canned animation where you can just block from any angle.
Yeah.
It becomes like a dangerous fight that you have to dodge and really rely on your terrain, your surroundings, your additional equipment, your abilities, and get the fuck out of the area. So, all things considered, they've done some interesting stuff with combat in the game, and just the way, because a lot more, you'll see a lot more shields in the Greek world, because in the Bronze Age, in their sort of environment, were far more used than they were in Origins, where it's all like the Egyptians and whatnot.
Yeah, because you had like wicker and wood and like all that kind of stuff. Like there wasn't a lot of metal shields.
Well, they didn't have like huge standing armies like the Spartans and the Athenians. Anyway, so that's interesting. In addition to that, and we're not even talking about the main plot, which is a whole other thing, and like the side quest, which is a whole other thing. They have a whole screen, and when I actually do stream some of this, I can't even show this screen.
Yeah.
There is a cult, and it's kind of reminiscent of, if you think back to like the original prototype game where the Web of Intrigue.
Yes. Yeah.
They have a number of masked sort of Stanley Kubrick looking motherfuckers, right, in masks, and they are this cult of Cosmos. And I'm thinking, and I don't know for sure, but this is maybe what you suggested, that possibly like the Proto-Templar organization.
Yeah, the beginning of a Templar cult or whatever.
Which I don't know. But anyway, each of these people, you have to go out and through completing areas, you will get clues to who these people are and where you might find them. And eventually you have to kill all of them, theoretically. But what's interesting is that each one of these people is an actual NPC in the world. Some of them are ones you've already interacted with.
Oh, okay.
Potentially, you've done side missions or main missions where they've been players, and then when they get revealed, it's like, motherfucker, I just helped that guy. And now, who knows what I was actually doing that may be against my own interest.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
So it's interesting. I can't say interesting.
Choose wisely.
It's a new implementation of a system that puts mystery back into what is essentially just a check off the box kind of game, and it makes the game feel more like these are a part of the main experience and not just another collectible.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So and it brings a life to it that just kill this guy in a list, like the mercenaries.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Death card system.
Is in a lot of the other games, when you were doing side quests or even some of the main missions, you really felt like you just had a clipboard with a checklist. Right. You're like, yep, killed him, talked to him, killed him. Like it was just there was no kind of theory or feeling behind it. And
each one of these cult members has unique equipment that you then get. Usually these are the sets. Like there's 5, 6, 8. I don't know how many arms off the top of my head. There was a big ring at the center that are, I'm assuming, going to be like the end bosses. I've killed one of the inner circle. Each one of them has like a specific set, and then the end guy had like a big weapon. Mm-hmm. So, if you know what I mean.
So they're all holding parts of an armor set, basically.
So, and I think that's like the way it goes all the way down the line. So it's really interesting. It's really it brings it back in that these are important aspects of the same whole. It's not just another add-on busy work thing to do. So it all feels connected. So which is interesting. Which is
yes. You know what?
Yeah.
Because we're over time.
Yes.
And you clearly are.
I'm not clearly anything.
You are clearly playing this game.
I am playing.
How about we save until you can actually talk about it?
We will continue more. Like everything else I can say is not mechanical anymore, but like the engravings, the mechanic and the ship, you do have like upgrading the ship, all that.
Yeah.
One thing we did want to say, I definitely want to make a point of, like when you recruit your guys on the ship, it's essentially the Metal Gear 5 system.
Okay.
You knock them out, and you're a ship.
You steal them.
Why don't you? I just beat the shit out of you. Why don't you join my crew? I pay better.
Yeah.
And he, instead of you having to move a body, he just goes off and he shows up on your ship. And then based on what hull level you've bought, you can hire up to 4 lieutenants. And each lieutenant has a rarity as well. And if like the legendary guys has 4 abilities, and the higher level the guy is, the
they
more
just make your ship more kick-ass.
The more pips, right? So it's essentially the same mechanic as the equipment, just for your ship.
Cool.
And there's like 6 different upgrades for your ship. And there's like 5 or 6 different levels for each upgrade. That's the other thing. The your skill tree. Most of your abilities have 3 levels of upgrade. So there's a lot of different skills, and there's usually 3 successive levels of each skill that give you more and potentially different upgrades, like the ability to tame animals. You start off, you can tame a dog and or like a wolf. Mm-hmm. Then you can tame like a lynx or a jaguar or a lion. And then the 3rd level is you can tame a fucking bear.
Nice.
And he just follows you around in Grizzly Adams. Any asshole happens to come near you. It's just boom, cheeseburger, motherfucker. You know. So,
well, you just sold the game to me.
Yeah.
I can tame a bear and walk around with it.
And last thing is literally there are 3 different types of damage. It codifies hunter damage, which is bow damage.
Yeah.
Assassin damage, which is like your hidden blade, or in this case, the spear of Leonidas.
Right.
Or a warrior damage, which is your straight melee weapons. And everything does damage, and all of your bonuses will affect one or the other type of damage. So depending on how you prefer to play the game, you can spec your character accordingly, either to bolster the parts of the game that you maybe weaken, or to really laser focus on one area. So they've really made it easily approachable without nerfing it in any way.
That's awesome.
It's, I think, a much more clear experience.
It sounds like they have a much better formula this time.
Yeah, they've definitely tuned up Origins, that system, a great deal, and added a lot to it. I think it's going to be... I really am looking forward to being able to say, like, actual events and discuss them with you.
That's why we'll save it for a different day.
Yeah. All right, 2 minutes each.
No, we're saving it for next time.
All right, fuck you all.
Yeah, because we're way over time, and we can just use it next time.
We do. One thing we didn't do at the beginning, we still didn't talk about the 12-hour stream.
Oh, good lord.
We didn't talk about the beginning. For those of you
that'll
who are
be
still
our
here,
lead out then.
For those of you still here, October the 13th, we're going to be here for 12 hours. That's a Saturday. We're going to be doing a 12-hour stream. We're going to be playing all kinds of games, stuff on the couch. We're going to have No Beer here. I don't know if we're going to have anyone else.
Yeah, I know. We're going to check in, see if other friends and streamers want to join in.
Going to let Discount out of the hole for an hour.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
But yeah, we'll have drinks, we'll have food.
Taco roulette.
Some spicy tacos.
Taco roulette. It's not going to be 24 hours, James Marine.
Sorry, Janus Marine. We have lives outside of this.
Nope.
Can't be 24 hours.
Nope. And it's going to be a celebration of the beginning of year 3, season 3 of Digital Fiasco. And it's going to be epic. It's going to be a terrible, terrible thing. We're not going to eat baby food. Fuck the baby food. Baby food's out. Sucks.
We'll find some other fun random games like that to play.
Taco roulette.
I'm sure we'll see Jack act like a gorilla again.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I have to get really drunk to play 1-2 Switch again.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Shaving for business, man. All right.
But yeah, it's a 12-hour stream. Of course, we're going to advertise that. We're going to figure out more shit to do on that one, but it'll be a good time. It'll be Saturday, so you can join in and have some fun with that.
All right. So, for those of you who are still out there, we are Digital Fiasco. You can reach us on Twitter at digital_fiasco. Tell us what you think. Even if you think that, the 64 version of Castlevania was better than Castlevania Rondo of Blood. And Castlevania 64, we were talking about that the other day. Like, that was a thing. And,
it was. And
Albel reminded me of that, and I hate him for it. Anyway, you can also, of course... follow us here on Twitch. You can follow us on Twitter.
Right down there.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button. That's money. But you can definitely follow us so that when we go online, you'll have updates. You'll be notified, and we will tell you on Twitter when those things are, when we have special events, etc., etc. Tomorrow will be Wednesday. It'll be Player's Guide Live with Daniel and Jackson. I don't know what their topic is for this week.
It doesn't matter what the topic is. It's awesome every time.
It is.
Join in and join the discussion.
7 p.m. Central Time. Join us for Player's Guide Live. That'll be a fantastic time. So, till then, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you and everything you do for us. We appreciate you sitting for an extra long Digital Fiasco double feature. Yep. And thanks again for Comic Sans. We had Clay Toon come in and fill in for Kelly because he was off, I don't know, plundering the Spanish Main. I don't know what he was doing this week.
You have to ask him about that. I'm interested to hear if that's what happened.
He had free fucking time to show up in the chat, so it couldn't have been that important. Anyway, so from us at Digital Fiasco, thanks for watching. I'm Jack McBastard.
And I'm Dandr0id.
Have a good night, folks. We're going to pay it forward to see if anyone is still up in Winnipeg and go raid some folks. Till then, see you guys tomorrow and have a good night.
See ya.